Welcome back, everybody, to the Gears Pro League, day number 3 for Split 2. I'm Taylor Reflections, Noble, joined by Colin the Crow Clark, and I gotta say, I'm excited to be back. Last week, only casted once, Colin. It was kind of a weird feeling. Jacob and Blaze kind of carried it out along with yourself, but now I finally get to work with you, brother, for a fresh split. How you doing?
Hey, look, everybody in the chat should already know that when you and I are on the cast together, there's going to be some hijinks. There's going to be some shenanigans. There's going to be some tomfoolery.
That's because of you.
What? Oh, come on.
Hey, chat was already saying to your first cast, man, hopefully you don't have a laptop around, so you won't be throwing anything like that, right? Is the laptop gone? It's clear. It's no longer on your desk?
Right there. Oh. You can't see it, but it's like, that's the angle.
Oh, no, it's like, getting thrown today. Just avoid the green screen because you broke it last time you threw it. Hey, last week was incredible. It really was, Colin. You killed it on the cast, man. And really, let's take a look at our standings. We got a lot to talk about because Pittsburgh Knights go undefeated despite them having some very difficult matchups. The only one who kind of backed at least PK up, other than, of course, the smart ones in the chat, was, Blaze, right? Blaze believed in fiercely coming onto that roster, and clearly it made a big difference. Pioneers Rise also will join them at 2-0. Speaking of Pioneers, pretty much had the perfect week, right? They come in as champions, and there still are the reigning champions after winning E-Days. A lot went down, but what stood out to you?
What stood out to me was, of course, that Pittsburgh Knights roster going up against the United. United made a gang of big plays, but I was absolutely impressed with how consistent the Knights played together. And what I mean by that is playing with one another, getting those team revives off, getting the ability to get those extra fights going so that they can continually just wear down the players from United. That was a big win for them, and that showcases what they're capable of. Outside of that, I mean, you know, we're pretty much standard issue right now with Pioneers up top, Rise up there as well. We're going to have to see some of these other teams start to round into form. I very much agree with what I heard. I believe it was Blaze. No, it was Jacob that said it. There's no team that Toti has ever been on that hasn't gotten better. So that Purified Roster, they might be on the way. They just got to get a few more matches under their belt.
Yeah, and that's what I was about to say. You know, Purified bottom 3, but I don't think that represents truly what they're going to be by the end of the split, maybe even not by the end of the week. Toti is bound and determined. He's already tweeted out even after his losses that they want to do better. He knows there's a lot of work to be done, and he has been carrying his weight for what it's worth. He just needs the rest of the team to kind of, you know, back him up, and I think Toti's a great leader. He's done it before, and he's going to do it once again with this Purified roster. I do believe in them beating Rise, actually, during E-Days. It was a big victory that's going to have a big dialogue, at least for myself, whenever we move into that first matchup. But when it comes to caster prediction standings, like I said, Blaze is kind of a front runner, brother. I mean, 6-0, undefeated, the only guy to go Pittsburgh Knights. As far as everybody else, including Twitch chat, we're all tied.
I don't want to say that I have to get one wrong, but I have to get one wrong so that you and Jacob can go above me so that I can be right there in the sandwich like I like to be, like right in the middle. Just just the straight edge, just right there in the middle, man, just waiting in the wings to never really want to be first place. I just want to be smart enough to not get laughed at, but not dumb enough to get kicked out.
I just want you to win. Like, I really want you to win.
Hell to the no. HE double hockey stick. Get that nonsense out of here.
You stay humble, but if you win, I don't know who would be worse, you or Jacob. Probably Jacob, I'll be honest. Because Jacob never lets it go. All right, every single broadcast, we got to know he's the champion, and he is the champion, even though we're tied for the championship. To beat a champion, you got to beat the champion. Whatever. I was about to ask you a weird question, too, about the sandwich thing, but I'm not going to. Luckily, I held back on that when the hijinks were already about to begin, and we're not going to go that route just yet. But hey, last week was great. You couldn't shut Powers down. You couldn't shut Enzim down most of the time. And you know what? Don't take my word for it. Let's take a look at our top 5 plays from week number 1.
What you gonna do?
They just need to be able to survive. It's going to be up to Enzim and his teammate here in this tough spot. Chavii over the top. Cristalize gets taken out. Up Ace into the fight. Effecties gets pulled out. But Enzim is there.
Oh!
He gets two.
Overtake by handles, trying to come from behind. Gets the big backing. They're going to get this decap for at least a moment. Can they send somebody with the help? They're going to send 2 somebodies. They're going to get the kill, the trade that they need. But it's going to have to be a hold-up. It's going to have to be a perfect domination here. Zysho hits the body. Zysho gets it down. But it's not enough. It's not enough. Bronny has to go massive. He has to get a 3-piece and a biscuit, baby. But he is going to find a close side on the front of that score. Now, all
players will hold their position, but Fiercely went down. Players spring out into action. Powers on a flank. That's 2 kills for E United. Braver has to back up. That's 3 down. Make it 4.
4v3 turned into a 4v2, which is slowly going to be turned into a 3v2 and a 2v2 at that, as Demise continues to get aggressive, and he gets the triple kill.
It will have to rotate around.
I think E United is going to try to pressure out here this way as well, because of the fact that I think E United wants to try to push toward this next hill. Beautiful double! Beautiful double! Beautiful triple! Ladies and gentlemen,
you know, seriously, we've been, hyping up Pittsburgh Knights getting that victory over E United. 3 of those top 5 plays column was Powers, literally decimating the competition. This guy was unstoppable. There was a lot of talk of, even really, just by his plays alone, there was a lot of talk in chat of who is the best Gears 5 player. And a lot of them were echoing Powers because he was dropping 30 bombs left and right.
hey, Powers is one of the best players on the planet right now. He always has a case to be the best player on the planet. But I will tell you this, Taylor, this is the thing that always I got laughed at for saying this last week, but I got confirmation of it from probably the best source on the planet. Right before that game started, I said, they need to let Powers IGL a little bit. He sat around some of the smartest and greatest players in our game's history. Sure. And a lot of people kind of looked at me, they double took, they were like, Powers is just a monster. Why does he need to IGL? And I'm like, y'all don't get it. He's seen things. He's been there. Not 2 days later was I getting to talk to the one and the only Kenny Bounce in my Discord. Sure. And he said, yeah, Powers has got the IGL bone. If he just learned to raise his voice a little bit and learn to do it consistently, he makes more correct calls than he does incorrect. And I'm like, I said something smart.
You got validation from your favorite player, man. Your favorite guy in the world, Kenny, right? Speaking of which, who is officially the IGL for the roster?
I would say TJ probably takes that more often than not, because TJ had to fill those shoes and fill that role for a long time when they were with Hive, and he was, surrounded by the likes of Demise, and he had Tidy over there. He made a lot of those play calls, secondary play calls made by Tidy, because he's playing on the opposite side of the map, playing the 1v1 spot, however you'd like to say that. But Demise can also be a little bit of an IGL. I've heard those guys as comms on LAN. I've loved to stand behind them. Way back when, even when they were Nimbus, making their first breakout plays on the Gears 4 scene, when they still had Toti on that roster. All 5 of those guys have the ability to speak up and make the correct play call. It shows you that what grinding the game and seeing different scenarios can really do for a player's maturity and knowledge.
And that's what made the victory Pittsburgh Knights got over them so instrumental to me. I mean, look, these guys are looking incredible. We got an action-packed day. We really do. Let's take a look at our schedule for today. We got 3 matches on the main broadcast station, of course. We'll be starting off with Purified versus Team Queso. We'll see if Purified can finally get their first win after taking 2 losses in the first week. Pittsburgh Knights will play against Fury 1, and then Rise versus the Pioneers. True test to Rise and what they can bring to the table. Last week, they played with their full roster on Tuesday. Wednesday, they ended up playing with Icy. I'm assuming we're going to have the full roster tonight. We'll see how they're going to stack against Pioneers, who, went undefeated last week. Incredible job and performance from them. Our side station is also going to be stacked just as well. Rebel will be playing against Fire and Ice to start off that side station matchup, and E United will play against Discipline. Just so you guys know, Fire and Ice is in fact going to be playing with a sub tonight. They'll be playing with their coach, so Rebel should get that victory, but hey, who knows? We've seen F&I get some substitutions, or at least they're going to have a sub tonight regardless. We'll see what that's going to be going on with that one, but hey, we've seen them play with different players, and we've seen them succeed and go the distance. We didn't see them get a win, but we've seen them go the distance. Map number 5, taking it to the edge, and just shy of victory. We'll see if F&I can get a victory this split, but hey, a lot to be said there. That's going to be your schedule for today. Let me know which one you like the most in chat, but let's get into our first series of the day. Purified versus Team Queso. We were talking a lot about that Purified roster and about Toti, taking those losses seriously. He knows there's a lot to be worked on, and we've already seen an improvement, right? E-Days beating Rise. Now that says something to me, Colin.
It is a big step forward for Purified. Beating Rise on an E-Days is a big step forward, but remember, E-Days at times can become a little bit more like a wager. People play it a little less seriously. They're playing a little more shotgun heavy. So Rise might have fallen into that trap, but you you best believe when you go up against these 4 cats right here, especially led by that one and only main man, that myth, that legend, the one and only Toti on the far right of your screen, these guys are going to get better every week with their teamwork. They have got Mr. Consistency as well in Addvers. Kardia, I think I'm still going to call him out. I'm not doing it out of hatred. I'm doing it out of pure love. I think if Kardia can get better in his 1v1s, he can really give this team an edge that it definitively needs in game modes like Execution to really give them that leg up in those maps 2 and 4. Because last week on Pro League, we actually got to see Purified have Kardia in a 1v1 spot several times. If he's getting shut down, the other 3 players have to scramble. They got to make a secondary play. Somebody's got to go big, and that's when they start to struggle. If Kardia starts to be a little bit more consistent, win some of those 1v1s, hell, if he just puts out a little bit more damage, keeps somebody on the back foot, this Purified team can get very scary very quickly.
I think they can. And again, week after week, I expect them to get better just because they have Toti guiding them, who was so instrumental in Noble's success and really their run to kind of dethrone Pittsburgh Knights at one point and then obviously be that top level team. That was back when they were Fire and Ice, eventually switching over towards Noble. And at one point, were the #1 Latin American team. And we'll see what Purified can be by the end of this split. Of course, it takes 2 to tango. Let's talk about Team Queso, who had one hell of a starting week last week. And Problems, Sleeafer, Cristalize, Chavii. Problems was genuinely on fire.
Problems has been creating problems for everybody. I'm taking a B out of his name, putting an extra L. I call him Problems because that's what he creates for the rest of the world. But I gotta ask you, Team Queso, your new favorite team on the block because of that man on the far left?
Okay, hold up. See, everybody wants to say Team Queso is my favorite team because Chavii's on it. Now, if you guys don't know, for Split 1, I pumped Chavii up to the max. I said this guy was going to be the new dyslexic. He was going to be the
If he was a tire, he would have exploded.
He probably would have, you know. But hey, for what it's worth, I think Chavii played very, very well, okay? And I think Team Queso does have a lot of potential. The only worry that I have about Team Queso is they've only beat Discipline so far. And if you go back, they did lose to Rise 3-1, but let's be honest, that's kind of to be expected because of who Rise is and who they have on that roster and kind of their lineage. But when it comes to Team Queso, one of their biggest struggles have been execution and also escalation. Control, I have no worries about. Control, they're on fire. But the thing about Team Queso is they're great on control, but then they go to the other game modes and they're decent, but they're not on that next level. So I'm curious if Team Queso eventually is going to fizzle out. Maybe, they just don't have a lot of different looks. And maybe that's what's doing them in. I would like to see them be more versatile in their strategy and kind of how they approach fights and how they approach other teams as opposed to, I just want to outgun you. But I am impressed with Team Queso. I still stand by that from week 1, Colin.
I completely understand your reservations about Team Queso and some of the other maps and game modes. One of the things that I think you're going to see tonight that's going to be very interesting to me is you've got a guy like Problems going up against a guy like Gary in some very specific spots on execution. Gary has been a thorn in the side for most of the teams he's been on for execution because he gets a little over aggressive. He puts himself on the wrong side of the map and gets killed off very quickly, putting his 3 teammates in a very bad position. Problems has had a tendency to over exaggerate, whether it be him in the front of the spawn or whether it be him on a flank. He puts himself too far into the danger zone and gets burnt. And that's one of those things that both of these teams have to keep those players in check, especially going up against one another if they want to come out of this with a win tonight.
You know, we talk a lot about Problems. We talked a lot about Chavii. Obviously, Cristalizes in the mix, but let's hone in on Sleeafer and really break him down, right? Sleeafer instrumental to this roster. His stats not too bad at all, especially for the KDA-wise. Damage per respawn, 14K, 5K per damage per execution, which is relatively lower. Like I said, I expect things like that from Team Queso, but Sleeafer brings a lot to the table, a lot to the package of Team Queso. What is that, Colin?
Well, look, this is what Sleeafer has been able to do with his career, not just with a resurgence, but just with a manipulation, an evolution of himself. Sleeafer, for the longest time, was known as the guy when it came to support fire. There was a time and place in Gears 4 where when you thought about Sleeafer, you thought about the Marksy, you thought about them getting that into his hands and allowing him to pop your head off before you had a chance to get back into the fight. You come into Gears 5, you go to that E-League broadcast, Sleeafer still the support god for that Ghost Gaming roster. It's a really weird situation because then he gets dropped because they go, instead of support, they want more slay power. It's like Sleeafer went off into the catacombs and said, I'm going to fight anyone and everyone. And since then, He's come out and played front man for his squad. He's played point man for his squad, and he's given his squad an extra added advantage in the slaying department. It was like being around those top tier killers has really made him into a different beast and a different animal. I think that's what has made Sleeafer so versatile and so great for this squad. And the squad he was on last split as well, still under that same banner. I think Sleeafer has been incredible, learning to become both that support god he was and now the slaying god that he is.
And with the new meta as it is, or I shouldn't say new, but with the meta as it is, right, that slaying power really does help you out in a lot of different modes and a lot of different maps. And more specifically, you talk about Sleeafer slaying out, then you got problems. You also add Chavii into the mix. These guys are deadly to the max if you get up close and personal. And speaking of getting up close and personal, let's take a look at our maps, Colin, and see if any of those maps are going to suit Team Queso's play style. Off the rip, we do have Ritual. Team Queso has been preferring that map. They're pretty solid there. We need to see a little bit more on the opposite end from Purified, but that's a great map to start off with. I think it allows Toti to kind of flex his IGL muscles and really dictate the flow and the ebb and flow, at least the pacing of the map for that. We got Checkout Execution, which is fantastic for Team Queso, in my opinion. But Purified picks that. Let's go down the list.
I really think that right here, what you're looking at for Team Queso is a good setup because of the fact that they're going to get that CQC they like on Ritual. But they're going to be able to return to that in map number 5. They're going to have 2 maps that they feel very comfortable, very confident in. What worries me is the middle of this map. I know you said that Team Queso is going to like Checkout, but right now I want you to just take a think and real quick about Checkout and how it plays out. You go up to that platform, you've got to learn to win some fights on that platform. A la last week, we got to see a guy like Dyslexic. I believe he had 0 kills through the first 6 rounds of Checkout Execution because of Raver. On that platform, Raver was absolutely a man to be messed with. Here with Purified, you're going to see Gary get up there, and you're going to know that Toti's going to be making play calls. Hey, Addvers, let's help Gary out. Hey, Addvers, let's get extra shots in. Let's throw an extra flash up there. You're going to put somebody like that in that mid lane or on that platform, and it's going to make Team Queso's life a living hell. You then go to training grounds. Escalation has been Toti's specialty because he's one of the most veteran players to win that kind of game mode in this entire matchup. If they can go 2 through 4, that's their path to success, is the meat of this sandwich. Maps 1 and 5, Queso's got to find a way to win one in the middle.
And I think it's going to be, well, you know what? Hey, and on top of that, if they do win one of the first 3, Colin, they do also have Reactor. And I think Reactor is going to be great for Team Queso too. So I think it could go, I really see a game 5 here, to be honest with you. I think you broke it down quite well. Speaking of which, you broke it down well enough. I got to ask you off the rip, who are you going to be going with this matchup, brother? You got 2 to pick from. Team Queso played very well. They got that slaying power. You now have absorbed the maps, but is Purified going to be your pick? Who are you going with?
Hey, look, at the end of the day, I know Jacob likes to make a whole lot of references to cheese when he's about to pick this team, but I'm going to make it quick, fast, and in a hurry like I do my salsa. It's going to be Team Queso, and they are going to come out on fuego in this first map. I don't know if I used the right word there, but I'm hoping it worked.
You're throwing it out there, baby. Salsa fuego. Speaking of which, salsa, did you mean the dip salsa, like eating some chips and salsa, or you mean salsa the dancing? Which one were you talking about?
Dancing, baby.
Dancing. Hey, look, I didn't know you got the hips. Hey, man,
come on now.
I didn't know you got the hips.
As much as I used to watch Franchise on main stage, I had to learn how to hit them with that wiggle waggle, baby.
But you don't mind chips and salsa either, all right? Let's not kid ourselves. We love a little chips and salsa and maybe some queso on the side. Speaking of which, I'll make it simple too. I'm going Purified. I'm going to go against the grain. I think Purified's going to win this because I do believe in Toti. The roster proved to me something on E-Days that they can beat some of the best out there, aka Rise. Granted, do have reservations there, Colin. You pointed out in the beginning. Plus, Rise has, as of recently, not been a good E-Days team for whatever it's worth. So I don't know why that is. But hey, chat, who are you going to be going with? Purified, Team Queso. You got 2 to choose from. I think it's going to be Team Queso. Wow, it's Purified. I really thought it was going to be Team Queso. So it seems like the fan base and really the believers have been made. They're on that Toti train. So Colin, it's all up to you, buddy. You're kind of sandwiched in between, but you were talking about sandwiches earlier, so it kind of works out.
I mean, I don't care if I'm the only man standing on the edge of this cliff one way or the other. The thing that I always hope for is just the best match possible.
Absolutely.
I did tell you I need to pick up a loss here so that I can try to, drop down a little bit. I try to be right there in the man in the middle. So this might work out well for me anyway, come hella high water.
So this is your intention, pick up that loss. All right, May. Best matchup. That's all we want, brother. And I think it is going to be a good matchup. I really do. I think you've got the sword. And would you call Purified the shield, per se? I don't know if they're necessarily the shield. They kind of a mix.
Purified to me is more reminiscent of a spear. They like to keep a little distance on you, but they have a very sharp edge right there in the front with a guy like Gary, and he's got really good, consistent players around him. You think about Addvers, you think about Toti. They really build a good setup for a guy like Gary to really shine. The problem with me, again, is Kardia. I think his 1v has to step up, and I think his confidence has to be stepped up, because one of the things that I see him do a lot of times is stall out fights, and I think that could come back to bite him against a team like Team Queso. But here I am, ladies and gentlemen, saying all this just to think about the players I got on Team Queso, and I'm like, man, Chavii could get a little reckless. Problem could get a little reckless. Yeah. I mean, this could be real bad for me. I'm working with dynamite over here, all right? I'm working with Dynamite, but it could blow up in my face.
But I do like the fact that you said slow him down. You know, I mean, that really is a factor. And that's one thing that I think is going to hurt Team Queso in the long run. You know, just because you have the aggression, you start off with an explosive week number one. You know, one of the things about that is just because you get overly aggressive, sometimes that can turn into recklessness. And you said that best, Colin, about Chavii getting a bit reckless, maybe Problems getting a bit reckless. You know, if you could learn to just space out that team fire, which, speaking of which, the team fire from Purified is truly talented at times. And that's kind of reminiscent of what I was seeing from Noble and maybe even Fire and Ice at one point in time back when they were still that roster, or at least being represented by that organization. So that's why I do think this is a great matchup. And I love that you said the spear versus the sword. And speaking of which, you're going into Ritual, and you mentioned this is going to be a good map, or should be, or could be a good map for Team Queso because of those CQC fights. So for Purified, what's kind of the strategy to shut that down? You mentioned spacing, but maybe there's more than that.
Early setups and power weapons. I think one of the things that Purified can do very well on this map is control the respawn of the power weapons, get the torque bow into the hands of a guy like Toti, who is without a doubt one of the most underrated power weapon players in the history of this game. You've also still got Addvers, who's extraordinarily good with the power weapons. You could get the torque bow over there. But I think they jump out him early, go to that first hill, try to take control over the torque. And if you've got to give up 15, 20 seconds here or there early on in this match to continue to control that torque bow, I don't mind that at all. That's not a bad play call to me, because these guys, they've got the skill to get back to the hill very quickly, to take another fight maybe. And as long as they're controlling that power weapon, that insta-give capability from those arrows is without a doubt to me something that could very much turn this map on its head. And I really do believe that that is their path to victory. Purified could really come out here and make a statement in map one if they can control that power weapon.
It's funny you say Toti underrated as a power weapon user, but then again, I think about his previous roster. Obviously, he had Exploits there, and Exploits was that guy that was going to pick it up no matter what. Okay, Exploits was the guy who's going to pick it up no matter what, and he continues to even do that, you know, even later on. But yeah, seriously, this is which, speaking of which, for chat, I mean, why did you decide to go with Purified? Because I'm genuinely curious myself, because I really thought you were going with Team Queso and the way they played last week. But I mean, you know, let's be fair though to the team of Purified. They didn't have the easiest opening week. You know, starting off, who they have to play against. So I know Purified had to go against Pioneers. You know, Pioneers. You know, 3-0 to be expected. In fact, even replicated in E-Days and semifinals. They beat them 3-0 as well, and that was after Purified beat Rise. So that, in my opinion, that makes, you know, them look even stronger going into the Rise matchup at the end of the day here on the main broadcast. But then they also had to play against Rebel, and Rebel, you know, has been known that whenever they do make any roster changes off the rip, man, they come in with that honeymoon phase and they just are stronger than ever. But I'm curious, they're going to be tapering off, or how strong they're going to continue to be. You know, still the story's out for that. But for Purified, you know, I am glad that people haven't been too critical on this roster, because again, opening week, yes, they're 2-0. They're the bottom three, Colin. But again, they had to play against Rebel, and they had to play against Pioneers. So it's like, you know, you take your pick. Purified is still very talented, insanely talented, in my opinion.
And the more work they put in, the more reps they get under the belt, the more dangerous they're going to be becoming. I think you just can't overlook this roster. They will have a bit of a metamorphosis this split. We will see them continuously get better. I don't know if we'll see them necessarily start winning games against people, but we'll see them winning a lot more maps against those upper echelon teams, even though they only have to play against them once. It's one of those things that if they play on E-Days, if they play here or there in other tournaments, other little showcases, they will pick up a map here or there. They're going to continuously get better. Ritual to me is a good test for them, because it'll be able to tell me whether or not they've gotten better at their CQC and their setups. They've got to be able to let Gary get a little loose early on. Gary, again, if he gets a little over aggressive, he can get shut down very easily. I've seen him have some very big stumbles on certain maps. Right. So start him off kind of relaxed in the fight. Don't necessarily say, hey, look, get your flash out and go straight into the first wrap shot you can find. Maybe throw your flash and then get to a spot where we can Lancer for you. Let you get a pop shot off here or there to clean up a down or two. We're going to be coming out of spawn, though. And, of course, that first hill is over that ritual site. And, oh, baby, we're going to have a 3v3 and a 1v1 in the middle of the map.
Yeah, 3v3, 1v1. That's going to be Gary opposite of Chavii in the 1v. And then, of course, it's going to be a jumbled up mess over on the top end of things. Speaking of which, Gary trying to back up. Bit of awkward spacing, but he gets the job done, taking Chavii out of the way. Hill still contested. And of course, we also have to focus on the Torque. That's one of the big reasons why you do want to win this hill. And it looks as if Purified's got it locked in. Gary on the flank to clean up the down players. First team fight out of the way, and Purified is on top.
Good job there by Purified. They put Gary in the 1v1. They know that they can hold the 3v3 off long enough to be able to get extra shots for him, help him be able to win that 1v1, and then he gets an easy flank. It was almost like it wasn't called out because that player sitting on that cover didn't even turn tail to try to shoot back at him. Addvers will pick up that Torque bow. Helmetless Akagi character, one of my favorite skins in the game being added to the store. But there's the frag grenades. Big job by Team Queso. A huge retake by them, but an even bigger stout kill by Toti. 25 seconds left on this hill. I think they're going to kill Toti and try to rotate here into the spawn. I love the setup already from Purified. They've gone over to this next hill, and they're trying to get super wide on these last couple of players from Team Queso, trying to get downs on them, but another pick from the Torque bow. So what you're going to see here is Problems trying to rotate around and make problems with that Torque bow for the rest of Purified.
Look at Kardia, though. Kardia picking up Sleeafer with the help of Gary, also taking down Chavii. There's hope for Purified to still lock in this next hill, and it seems as if they're going to be able to do so. Things did get shaky, and Problems was causing problems with the Torque, but at the end of the day, it looks like Purified do have a good foothold on the hill. Player 3 in no man's land, and while he's going to be caught slipping, Sleeafer, the guy that we watched, at least a player to watch, takes him out of the way, and now Team Queso is pushing up 4 men, and now they're going to be in a 4v3, and Sleeafer does have a bit of an off angle, good spacing onto Addvers, but forced to back up. He takes a bit of damage. Gary's fallen. There's Addvers out of the way, and now you have only one more to deal with. Actually, no more to deal with because, well, player 1, Toti, he dipped to the top side to join Gary. On the low side, you got Kardia, and then, of course, floating around is going to be at least Addvers somewhere, or it should be Gary somewhere in the mix. But hey, off towards a retake. Looks like Team Queso's definitely holding their ground, and Purified's not able to get close.
Yeah, beautiful job here, but Purified, I love the way they're playing around that pillar. They're trying to bait out 1v1s around that pillar. They're trying to bait out 1v1s into the bottom side of the map. Addvers playing back gives them a great chance here, but I love the team fire coming in. Gary now with a Torque bow. He's going to try to find some splash damage, I believe. He might even find a little pick on the shoulder there, but he's going to get hit from the 90 degree. He's full red. He's got to go back to the Torque bow spawn area before he gets down and dead. Team Queso take another lead. Little 20 points here, little 20 points there. As long as they continue to chip away at that overall 300 like this,
sure,
it's going to get real shaky for Purified. But I love the fact that Purified is being smart about playing out, being smart about playing across the map. Torque bow shot over the top, won't be able to connect. One more bolt in the quiver for Gary. This should be an easy pick, and it might be a double kill. No, it only gets the one.
Oh, no. You got to get Chavii. You got to get him out of there, brother. Addvers forced to retreat. And yeah, I thought that was going to be a double kill. And again, this is the second, third time now we've seen Purified take an early setup, right? An early rotation. You mentioned giving 20 points here, 20 points there to Team Queso. Well, the problem is that's all well and good if you're getting the bulk of the time. But Purified, even with the early setups, Team Queso, they're rolling through them.
Yeah, Team Queso is doing a good job of holding this back spot. So you want this side and this spawn for these two corner hills because you see how you have to come straight down that angle, straight down that hall. Again, Sleeafer's in a 1v1 against Gary. Gary, good job pressuring onto Sleeafer. Tries to go over the back A, but once again, Purified is willing to put somebody else into the fight. Cristalize, though, 2 big back A's will get the cleanup onto Toti. Now it's a 1v1. Gary's still trying to win these 1vs to give him either the close spawn or give him the extra 90-degree angle, but is not able to come away with the secondary 1v win. Problems now. He's able to angle out at least one. Toti's going to go in for the quick revive, but that is a bunch of damage being put out by Team Queso. You never want to find yourself in these situations, and this has very quickly become almost a 100-point game for Team Queso, and it looks like they've already got one player set up toward that next hill. Oh, Chavii's going to try to find himself a sneak kill here.
Oh, he's going to get one.
He's going to get one.
There. Oh, he can't get the second one. He put so much damage. Addvers has to be thanking the Gears gods, brother, because he shouldn't be alive there. I'm going to be completely honest, but he is. Still, a chance for Team Queso, though, to capitalize off of that kill from Chavii, and it's going to be Sleeafer walking in with the torque. 3 more bolts to his name, but he had just enough time and spacing to take down Toti. Chavii now is back for revenge. Up A onto Gary. He's gone. Goes in for the second, but once again going to fall a bit short. Purified still fighting, but Sleeafer staying alive. He has not died yet. I think he still has 2 more bolts in the torque bow, but he knows the Nasher a lot stronger in this moment. Shoulder to shoulder with his brother, forcing Purified back. Gary on the ground. Kardia, he's going to be weak, but managed to get the pickup regardless. He's down and out. That's 2 gone. Addvers now up ahead. Sleeafer is on an absolute tear. He refuses to die.
Toti already quickly back into the hill, and that's one of the things that is very apparent about Toti's playstyle. He's always led by example. He likes to put himself back into the fight. He likes to put himself back in a position to try to create opportunities for his teammates. 1 bolt left for Sleeafer. He's going to put it right here at this cubby corner. He's going to get the splash damage chunk as well. Sleeafer, like you said, on a tear. He's 11 and 3. Ram shot.
How many
12 and 3. Now Toti is going to try to cross him out, but Sleeafer, he's holding down the back lane, baby. He's going to pick up the ammunition. He said, boy, I'm all the way down to red numbers. Let me get myself some more shoddy ammo to try to get some more kills. Look at the way that his damage is being put out, though. He's still lower on the damage side, which tells me a lot of those kills are full damage kills. He's not getting a ton of assists for a lot of damage.
Oh, my.
But he's getting a 600 HP there. He's getting a 600 HP there. But he causes enough of a distraction to get it down. Toti's going to move in for a revive.
Wow,
it's
from
easy,
the grave.
Dump City. Easy.
From the grave. Misroll into picking it up with his teammates. He literally just went on like an 8 to 10 kill streak. Like that was just dumb at one point, man. I thought I was watching Powers play from last week. Now, silver lining, Addvers does get the torque bow. I say silver lining, but oh, what a play from Addvers to take down Sleeper. I thought he was dead there. I did. I thought Sleeper was going to come back on a tear once again. Now, Purified, have we found new life? Well, this is the first time they've really established themselves on a hill and actually pushed Team Queso back by killing them off. Now they got to go back for round 2. 50 seconds is a lot of time to fight for. They have a massive 100-point plus deficit. So at this point, Purified cannot slow down.
Well, this is one of those situations. Good little torque bow shot there, and the double kill from the splash damage leaves Sleeafer all by his lonesome. He's going to back A it out as much as he can, but he's just going to get damage. I like this from Purified as well. They're going to push forward here because they know that they've got to go to that next hill. They got to try to get across the map. One more set of slays from Team Queso could get them into the hill, but look at this. Toti is already set up mid-map to rotate over to next hill, as well as Cardi B right now. Cardi B, I'm not going to say that. It's going to be Kardia. He's going to be Kardia.
I'm about to say, what?
Look. Did you hear what I said about him last week?
I did not. What'd you say?
You know why he changed his name to Cardi B? He wasn't good enough to be Cardi A.
What does that say about Cardi B? The Cardi B, the artist, though. You know what I'm saying? Where's Cardi A?
Hey, Cardi A, you know, sometimes you got to be fancy, baby. But just like Gary was tap dancing on him back there in the spawn, he had help, and Gary knew all he had to do was stay alive to get that extra damage out with the shotty to the body. They get that kill. Kardia is now playing back there with Gary as well. They're going to continue to be able to pressure the players from Team Queso that come off a respawn. This is a picture-perfect setup for Purified as well. It's going to force Team Queso to rotate all the way across to mid-map and try to come in from 2 different angles. They're going to have to go for the 90% right here, the 90-degree angle. But Addvers shutting them down one at a time. You never want to see that happen on a retake ability because it's 4v3, and you got a 2v1 happening across the map. Chavii, though, with a big back end, gets 1 kill, and he has a chance now to try to take a 2v1 against Gary.
He does, and actually, Chavii was down. Gary managed to at least get the trade. I think Chavii's done and dusted in this moment. He's going to stay alive maybe a little bit longer. Might tap out. Toti in the hill, though. Watch out. Sleeper in problems. No worries at all. When we talked about that 100-point deficit, well, no more. Purified off the back of 2 successful hills has absolutely come back into the fight. They're looking a lot better. Team Queso might not be getting rattled. I think Purified is just heating up, which, you know, speaking of which, is great because you think about Toti and Noble, and you think about Toti with Fire and Ice, right? You know, sometimes they could be down 2-0 in a series, and they would manage to come back and win the series. Sometimes they could be down 100+ points in control, or who knows, be down 4 rounds in execution. You know, Escalation, you know how it goes, the story, right? But regardless, Toti has this way to just rally the troops, and he's doing exactly that. These guys are on fire, and if Team Queso isn't careful, and if they don't step it up relatively soon, Purified is about to be tied.
I know I always joke around and say that when in doubt, up A it out when you're playing Gears. It gives you a chance to try to come away with a silly kill. The reason Toti is so good in these situations and he's so incredible as a leader for his teams is because Toti makes the smartest play possible every single time. I don't ever see Toti kind of make the silly play. He doesn't go crazy to try to make any miracles happen. He just goes for damage. He'll go for a down and then bleed that player out. Right here, he knows he's angled out if he pushes in. He's waiting for the extra team fire to come in. He goes for the double bounce to the back A, but he gets shut down. He's going to get picked up here, but now he's got more help. Toti waited that out long enough to allow his teammates to get back into the fight. 35 seconds left on this. This is one of those situations where Queso has to pretty much hold on to this hill because getting up over that 250 gives them a position to play around with some of their angles, play around with some of the time left in those power weapons. Purified, they've got to stop this point accumulation, which is exactly what they do. Flashes are going to come out. One more ability here for a retake, but it's going to get shut down, and now Team Queso is going to try to fly to that spawn. They want the close respawn for the next hill as well.
Sleeafer gets the torque bow. That's a big worry spot for me, at least, whenever it comes to the Purified sides. First bolt's going to be missed. 3 more remaining. We saw player 3 trying to sprint his way out for the next hill setup, but he was being hunted by Problems Cristalize and Chavii. Now we'll see, obviously, Team Queso is going to be moving in. Purified is set up for the meantime, but Team Queso, they've got the positioning of the Wolfpack, plus Toti is also down. That's 3 gone, and this could be the beginning of the end for Purified. Granted, the hill just popped up, but Team Queso, they're well established. You got Purified a bit split up. I'm looking at Gary, right? Gary's by himself, 1v2. He's got Chavii and Sleeafer. If he wins this, oh, it's going to be heroic play without question, but he still has to win it, and he's about to get pincered in, and there he goes. He's done and dusted. But meanwhile, on the hill, actually, look at this. Purified manages to find a way to win, but only Addvers is standing, and he's once again in a 1v2, 1v3. He's going to be down and out, but for what it's worth, Purified did do some good damage control on this hill, and they didn't give up too much time, but they need to win this hill. They can't afford to allow Team Queso to run away with it.
Toti's got to be smart with these frags. I think you have to throw one really deep and then throw one close to try to get him to roll back into the first one. The first one went a little short. It's going to allow him to push back up onto that pillar. Second one, picture perfect. We'll get 1 kill there. 2 players mounted up on this pillar. They don't have a kill to answer back with yet. They're trying to get these back A's to come through. Double bounce in from Chavii, trying to get 1 kill. Those are the situations that I always worry about with Chavii. He might get a little over aggressive. Problems, he's going to try to bounce around. Shot over the top! Gets the kill there, though, onto Addvers. And Kardia will finally kill him and clean him up. But this is where you put yourself in a bad spot if you're down by about 80 points or so with 268 sitting on your opponent's hill. They can rotate out ultra early. They can go over here to try to set up for next. Sleeafer, first wrap shot onto Gary will get the kill. Kardia is down.
He's too
now
good.
Addvers.
He's too good.
I mean, picture perfectly done by Sleeafer. I'm proud of you, though, a second ago. You remember when you said they did some good damage control when it was just Addvers left in that 1v2?
Right.
I'm surprised you didn't call out the fact that Addvers killed his teammate on the ground.
Oh, did he?
He did.
I did not.
Shot his homie. Shot his homie square in the face.
Good damage control for Team Queso then, okay? That's what it was at the end of the day. Look at this guy. Look at this. I mean, Sleeafer is just... He's an animal, he's a beast. Like, this guy is just doing literally everything up until that moment. Of course, he dies. I'll give him a little bit of credit, though, because Addvers is back. Speaking of which, he heard you say, hey, you point out my flaws. Well, I'm going to come back with an even bigger positive. This is going to be 3 for him. He's on a 2-kill streak so far. Pushing up, gets to finish on Problems, takes down Sleeafer. Hold up a second. Purified's not done yet.
Yeah, Purified is fighting back 1 second at a time. These are the moments that show what a team is made of. These are the maturity moments that create a better team, that create a better squad, because you have to learn to close out. You have to find a way to get these wins. Sleeafer with a big back A, now gets the down. 1 more kill could be huge for his squad here. Toti, he's playing the pillar perfect, but he still gets shut down. 25 seconds to win it for Team Queso. They're going to roll back. They can't win it necessarily because there's a chance for one touch from Purified to be able to get a neutralization to force them to go to the next hill, but they still have enough time, and Addvers has a picture-perfect shot on the Chavii. It's a guaranteed next hill now. It's a guaranteed neutralization.
Wow.
Now Team Queso has to get to the next hill. They're going to have to get 7 seconds in that mid-neutral position. Gary is going to be first there against Problems.
Stay
He's going to
alive.
be stouted up. His job is to stay alive and wait for the reinforcements, but it's 4v3, and oh my golly, they're going to have all the utility to use in this position.
That's huge.
Toti gets the first. Toti going in for a second. Can he get a second? Look at the way this team is now wolfpacking. Problems trying to create something. He gets 2 down, but he can't clean him up. He can't clean him up.
Yo, this is amazing. Purified's still in it. This would be a huge collapse on Team Queso's part. Now you throw in a wrench, though. You got Cristalize plus the troops coming back from Team Queso, and you're almost going to get flanked by Sleeafer. Now, this is going to be a big win from Addvers, but unfortunately, he falls. Sleeper's able to push through. Now you also have 3 down. Toti's last alive. There's only 5 seconds to win it. Team Queso, they're going to take it 300 to 244, and you got to give credit. That lead they had off of the beginning, Colin, was kind of, you know, what did Purified in the end. If it wasn't so one-sided at the beginning, who knows? Maybe we see a big comeback from Purified, maybe even a closer game. But Sleeafer, that man on your screen, I can't say it enough. He popped off at one point, going on an 8-10 kill streak. Colin, Sleeafer, truly the MVP of map 1.
I'm going to go ahead and tell you this right now, though, Taylor. A lot of people do not like how they feel necessarily the control drags on for certain hills. I think it's one of my favorite things in the world that the first hill in control is almost, if not just as important as the final hill, because that first hill gives them that 20-30 point lead. It forces Purified to early rotate. Then all of a sudden, Team Queso gets a 40-50 point lead, then almost up to 100. It forces Purified into a spot where they've not got to just play around the hill. They've got to kind of force their way back into the hill every single solitary moment and be picture perfect up until a last gasp, last ditch effort at that frag grenade spawn, and it comes away for Team Queso. I think control always delivers for me.
It does. Well, there have been times where it doesn't, all right? Where I'm talking about where it's 300 to 29, okay? There have been those moments, but for the most
delivers for me, because you know me, I like seeing somebody getting the elbows, baby.
You start at the barbecue and you're going in for a roast, all right? And I believe that. I really do, brother. I do. But this is the thing, and I love what you said about it. The first hill really is most impactful, even as opposed to the last hill. And the reason why is because, again, Purified, you're looking at it even the replays, right? 173 to 41. Okay, they lose 300 to 244. Well, that's more than a 60-point deficit. Okay, so at this point in time, if Purified would have started off a bit better, they would have kept it closer. Maybe they would have had better longevity, maybe even a better finish in the end. But ultimately, Team Queso, they dominated the beginning, and for the most part, they dominated pretty much the middle, portion. Well, I guess the middle portion was actually more so Purified, but definitely the later portion. Yeah, Team Queso at the beginning was winning team fight after team fight. Purified, you mentioned it at the start, Colin, giving up 20 points here, 20 points there. But that stacked into a 100-plus lead for Team Queso and a 100-point deficit for the side of Purified. But their rotations were crispy and they were on point. But let's face it, they were forced to rotate off early because they were getting team wiped every time.
Well, that's one of the things you got to worry about is you see certain kills come through. I think one of the things that you got to take away from that map 1 is there were too many times for both of these squads that somebody had a good flank. They had the ability to get in on the 6 o'clock of the rest of the squad, where we saw Sleeafer do it a couple times. I believe we saw Toti, even Gary. Gary was big in the 1v1. I love the mid-map play call by the side of Team Queso to start calling out Gary. We saw them 2 hills in a row find Gary's 1v1 spot, push out in a 2v1 onto him, get the kill on him, and then rotate back into the hill. Their job was to basically stay alive long enough to get their teammates back to that fight. It worked and paid off both times. Those are the plays that will get a team a dub and will really take a team far when it comes major time, because it shows they're making mid-map, not just mid-game adjustments.
Yeah, really impressed. And that was Team Queso's map pick, mind you. So they do, in fact, start off strong, getting the first victory. And I mentioned, or at least you mentioned, right, check out Training Grounds coming up next, which you do favor Purified on those maps, just given the fact, you know, how Toti is and how he can kind of gather troops. And also for Team Queso, how they have struggled when it comes to execution. I say struggle loosely, but, you know, not been as good as they are on control as opposed to their execution and escalation gameplay. But because they do win map number 1, we should be, I'm hoping, at least guaranteed a map number 4, which will be on Reactor, and that's going to be even closer CQCs than even that of Ritual. And plus, you got the Torque Bow still there, which I would be just flabbergasted to see Sleeafer with it. I think he was popping off and just really hitting them hard. Speaking in regards to hitting Purified hard, but at this point in time, again, map 5 seems to be where we are going. But these next 2 maps truly are going to be the maps that Purified need to win and do very well on. And Checkout is one that you did have some reservations when it came to Team Queso. Let's go ahead and at least touch back and touch base on some of those issues. Team Queso, Purified, how do you think Checkout's going to go?
I harken back to what I said at the start of this breakdown. Toti, to me, is going to make some play calls for Gary at that mid platform. He is going to throw an extra flash on a round. He's going to get an extra Lancer onto the opponents as they try to hop up for a round. He's got enough wrinkles in his playbook alone on Checkout. Think back to how good Noble was time in and time out on this map because of how many times they could give different looks to a team. Those are the things that Toti will bring to the table for his squad on Purified, and I think it's going to serve them off in dividends because if it goes to a secondary fight, let's say they trade out, let's say it's a 2v2 or a 3v2, and Purified has to roll back. I still have faith in Toti to make the right play call defensively to reset up and re-engage in a secondary team fight or a secondary fight to help them win these last second rounds, these pushes for those overtime hills. And then if we go forward in Escalation and Reactor, you talked about the CQC we're going to see on Reactor. That map also sets up greatly for the setups that we saw Purified very good and very exquisitely doing on Ritual when they were mounting their comeback. So these next 3 maps are going to be very telling for the maturity level of a team like Team Queso. Can they close out matchups, or is it going to be Purified and that incredible ability of them to continue to rally around different players to win a couple of these maps to string it together?
And I keep, I hate to keep saying his name, but look, the fact is Toti has to show different looks and really dissect what Team Queso is going to be throwing out there, because the reality is when it comes to Team Queso's slaying ability, well, Sleeafer already proved that, look, when they are on point, they are hitting shots. It's hard to shut them down because you might have that 4v4 battle on Checkout stand well. Obviously, Team Queso, you might have to tip your hat over to them, despite seeing some flash in the pan plays in a strong middle portion of that Ritual control where, the likes of Addvers was just absolutely exploding. Kardia was having plenty of moments. Toti obviously doing his thing, but the point is, I think Team Queso is more consistent with the slaying power. But hey, it's round by round basis, and you just got to survive rounds, see those different looks. I do think it is going to be different for Toti, obviously not playing on Noble. You know, he had a lot of firepower. He had a ton of firepower, plus he had the ace in the hole, which was exploits. You give him the snipe, and that's why Noble would always attack the bottom side, you know, super heavy. If they could get exploits at sniper, they knew they had basically an atomic bomb on their side that they could drop at any point in time. So it's going to be a little bit different, but either way, for Team Queso, I think that slaying power is going to come to the forefront. Looks like we do have a bit of a restart. That's okay. Like we said, it wouldn't be Gears if we didn't. That's, it is what it is. 9-second round, the quickest I've ever seen. But hopefully we'll be getting it going soon. Colin, who do you want to watch off the rip? I assume Gary.
It's got to be, you got to watch Gary off the rip if you're going to be on the side of, Purified. Toti's actually in the front spawn, so they're putting Toti into that mid lane. I really like that play call. They're going to put Toti right up in the front of this. They're going to allow him to kind of make the right call for his squad. He's going to be up against Sleeafer. Toti, he's going to throw a flash, and he's going to be your platform player here. Double flashes out. Toti trying to play backwards, but Cristalize on a flank, I think. I think he came around the front side of that platform to be able to get that chunk onto him. Gary's going to be able to pick that long shot, and he's going to roll back. Now it's going to be Gary, the eye in the sky for his squad with a long shot. He's got to get a headshot, maybe a down here or there to help his team rotate and rally around.
Oh, nice.
Big body shot on a Chavii will shut him down. And there's the down, there's the cleanup, there's the second kill. That's what I'm talking about. This team in Purified is so good at secondary fights. It's unbelievably scary.
If it wasn't for that body shot, I don't know how that would have played out, because Team Queso, in my opinion, Colin, were doing the correct thing, and they were closing the gap quickly by pushing up on a Purified, not allowing that spacing, right? Because, you know, if you go into a stalemate, then you really do have to worry about, you know, a headshot, you know, being taken down by Gary. You just don't know how that's going to take place. But Gary really was the hero there. He hits the body shot on bottom checkout, and he also picked up Addvers as he was on the retreat. So Gary, truly the MVP for round number 1, even though it started off a bit rocky with Toti being first blooded.
Now we'll see what they can do here in round number 2. Can they clean up a couple of extra kills here? Looks like this time Purify is going to try to stay off of the platform for just a moment and try to come up late after the stuns come away. Sleeafer this time will pick up the Incendiary. He's going to go for the double kill here. He's not going to get any of them. He's going to get some damage, but not enough to really make anybody afraid. Gary's going to go down on the Lancer damage, but once again, Gary with a long shot goes huge. Last round, it's body shots. This round, it's headshots and body shots. It doesn't matter. Put the sniper in his hands and let magic happen. Call him Harry Houdini. He made Team Queso disappear.
2 rounds in a row. Gary, the biggest impact player. We'll get a replay of that when we have to. Look at this. Picked up instantly. Muscle memory straight into the headshot of Problems, followed by a big body on the Sleeafer, and he even went for a third as a player was rolling out of the last 2 remaining to try and get the pickup because one of them was already down. Beautiful job from Gary. Well done from Purified. Team Queso struggling to find an answer. Toti not stunned this time. So actually he is, excuse me. He's forced to back up, but quickly bait and switch from Kardia. Sleeafer taking some damage. Toti's still alive. Cristalize. He's on all 4. Sleeafer, he's been finished off. And now you got Team Queso once again in a tough spot. Looks like we'll have a bit of a reset, but Gary threatening to get the sniper. Well, he's going to get it.
Now you see Gary getting downed yet again. They're going for the long shot, the Lancer shot across the map. Addvers is going to go down as well. Toti's here with that Incendiary. This is danger zone for everybody, and it's going to be the danger zone for Chavii. Another one out, and it looks like Toti's staying alive. I'm staying alive. Staying alive. Toti's got one to go. Toti, he's my man's got weight, and he's throwing it around. Hit me with the replay.
I love Toti.
Replay. Hit me with it.
That's my best friend right there.
Run that. Run that back.
Oh my God. One with the ensign. Second one doesn't connect. No worries, though. Toti, he's confident in his shot. He was full red, brother. Look at that. The perfect spacing to take Problems down. Big body shot, and then the finish as he's dropped. My Lord. I'm loving what I'm seeing. I really am. And Toti's back in it once again now, fighting for the bottom end of the platform. This time, though, Instance will go to the way of Team Queso, but look at Gary catching Problems as he gets overly aggressive, trying to flank around, but it's scrappy. Team Queso, 2 members alive. Make that only 1. Purified with 3 members to their name can bully them out, and that's going to be a 4-0 lead for the team of Purified.
Hey, yo, Purified is hitting them with it in this map, too. My God, yo. My man Sleeafer at negative 95.
Who is that negative 95?
Negative for
Who is
Sleeafer.
that?
Negative.
He's
not
taking
negative.
checkout too literally. He said 95 cents off your total purchase price, man. Yo,
discount double checking stuff out here. My man's just swinging his weight left and right. Toti saw that man in the smoke. He rolled right off of the friggin' platform right there. But Chavii, waiting in the wings, came out with the first. Now Sleeafer holding on to those Incendiaries. It's going to settle
He's
down
holding on
just
tight.
a moment. Long range Incendiary still doesn't. He doesn't make it over the lane. He doesn't even put it long enough for it to be a dangerous spot for anybody. He didn't throw that one right. Hey, yo, my man. I'm sorry. I'm going to hit you with the Allen Iverson. We talking about practice.
Oh, good shot, though. Good shot from Cristalize. Hold up, 2v1. Addvers looking to pull off a Toti. He brings it to no way. They do it back-to-back rounds. My heart couldn't take it. Thank you, Sleeafer, for giving me a little bit of a break, okay? It's only, look, seriously, this is only map number 2 of the night. I got 3 days in a row this week. I'm not looking to blow the voice out in literally series number 1. Finally, we will see Team Queso get a round on the board, and Cristalize put up one hell of a fight, man, but it's still to the very end. It was scary.
I still have no, like, how do you not throw either of those Incendiaries correctly? Like, neither of them were even threatening. They just stood there. They were like, man, that's some hot fire over there. Like, didn't even worry about it. Problem's gonna get chased out by 3 members of Purified. Chavii's gonna get the first kill, 4v3. Incendiary from Sleeafer finally picks somebody. Second one's gonna force him off to the left-hand side. Now Sleeafer's gonna try to come in for this 90-degree angle. These last 2 players, they're gonna get angled out here momentarily. They just gotta find where they both are. caught off by that incendiary for just a moment, but 2 rounds back-to-back for Queso. But this is a big mountain to climb. With the way that Purified was hitting them for 4 straight rounds, they've got to continue consistently winning these initial fights, or they're not going to even make it to a 4-4.
Yeah. Nah, I'm still... I had to go back and watch that Toti play. It was just stupid. It really was. 4-2, Team Queso's coming back. Now, Purified's got to hold on tight. They really do. And one of the things, they need to get those instants out of the way. Toti back at it once again. A little bit of revenge. He'll be joined alongside his teammate. Good shot in the Sleeafer. Got to pick up Gary, though, through the smoke. Hey, Team Queso, they're not confused. And I'm seeing a lot of bodies drop. Gary tries to come back for revenge. There's going to be a trade on both ends. 2 players down. It's a 2v2, and it doesn't look like they're pumping the brakes anytime soon. They're pushing up. Problems to the right, Chris or Chavii to the left. Now it's brought down to a 1v. Kardia last alive against Chavii.
Thanks for your service.
Let's see what they can do here as Kardia is going to be looking across at that platform. Chavii is going to continue to try to threaten him and maybe step up to go for those incendiaries. I like the play call here by Kardia. Kardia with a pulled the Lancer for just a moment in case he went for the hop up. He's going to get on top of that pillar. He's going to go for the double shot here. Kardia, good job there. Hey, look, Taylor, I said it in the pregame. If Kardia wins his 1v1s, Purified is a dangerous squad. They're now at map point here to try to tie it up 1-1 in this situation and in this matchup against Team Queso. That's a big win by Kardia, if you ask me, to play that very patiently and to play it defensively to get those multiple shots on, put it down in the final cleanup. Beautiful job.
Beautiful job indeed. Map point for Purified to tie the series up 1-1, which will send us into Training Grounds Escalation. But can they close it out? It's a lot different, right, to be so close. You gotta manage to get it. Well, that's gonna be first blood coming out. Toti got 2 players trapped on, or is he the one trapped? Well, Problems will take him down. Now it's a 3v2. The roles have been shifted, but Addvers has the sniper. We've seen what Gary can do with it, but Gary isn't an option at this point. Gary's still on the map, but now it's up to Addvers to hit those connecting shots. Unfortunately, missing one. They are pinned on the back end of the checkout stands. Depending where the overtime hill is going to be, Team Queso can retreat back off as long as they avoid the sniper shots and be in a fantastic point. But great body shot, but unfortunately, Colin, nobody's there to capitalize.
And you got to be careful here. He's trying to find that little angle onto Sleeafer. Every time he pokes out to try to get that little couple of snub shots on, he's putting himself in the danger zone. Big body shot there. Addvers, though, is going to go down, do Problems at getting that quick rush onto him. Now Gary's going to go down. Another round in the bank for Team Queso, but they're 2 rounds away just to get it to that round 11.
Round 11. That's a long way away for Team Queso. But hey, 1 round at a time, Colin. 1 round at a time. Team Queso, they've shown some great promise. They really have. They have been controlling at least that plat fight quite well. Problems, a big playmaker in the last round, round number 7, or excuse me, round number 8, obviously going on that flank, getting that first blood was huge, or not first blood, but at least, you know, evening up the odds. Sleeafer, though, big positioning. Oh, look at the nades. This is the first time we've seen him come out, and there it is. Kardia will take down Sleeafer. First blood coming out. Purified got the man advantage.
Purified backs off as well now, too. Cristalize does have that long shot. I don't believe they have any more frag grenades. They did throw both of them already, so that's one of the things that I think is going to be very situational here. Problems actually to switch out the long shot with Cristalize. Problems is going to have it now. Problems is trying to look for a headshot here. I actually like this because Purified knows the hill is on the opposite side of the map, so they're going to try to force the side of Team Queso into them. Team Queso can sit back here for the rest of this round, and it ain't gonna matter a hill of beans to Purify because they're gonna win this hook or crook. They're gonna come away with a 6-3 on this map because they're gonna force Team Queso into them.
You think so? Well, Problems, he might, I don't know, have something up his sleeve. Gets a good shot. Oh, he wanted to. You saw him. He saw the cogs turning. Well, now Nasher's out. He's getting pushed up by 2, but the flank is there. Toti's too smart. He's not going to allow Problems to push up in the 1v2, bring it to a 1v1. 4v2 now. You got 2 members from Team Queso only alive. Cristalize and Chavii to make some magic happen, but they're pinned up, and I'm starting to agree with you. I don't see Team Queso winning this round by any means because Purified, they're just too smart. They're not going to allow Cristalize and Chavii to win this 2v4, especially with how they are set up. As I look through, though, I'm not seeing any utility on both ends. So right now it just comes down to strictly gun skill. When is Purified wanting to make the move? Well, 15 seconds. Overtime Hill's going to be onto the back of Team Queso, and Toti actually is going to get those instants. So at this point, I mean, Team Queso is just kind of buying time.
You really think Toti was about to lose this map with the weight that he was swinging around.
I told you no.
I mean, like there won't no shot that Toti was going to let this go after the weight that he was swinging around, but the weight of this series has shifted, ladies and gentlemen. It's no longer a dominant performance by Team Queso. Oh no, ladies and gentlemen, it's 1-1. Team Queso, Purified. If you want to find out who's going to win this sucker, well, you better come back after this quick commercial break for Escalation.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Gears Pro League Split 2, Day 3. What an exciting series this has been. We're currently tied 1-1 between Purified and Team Queso. And Toti he wasn't having it. He wasn't going to lose this. And then 6-3 on checkout, but Gary made some beautiful snipes. This was the beginning of his kind of snipe-tage, if you will, picking up 2. And then Toti, this play right here, a moment of silence, brother, because it speaks for itself. Damn.
You just gotta let that marinate, though.
You really do.
Hey, yo, somebody call Blaze and tell him to get that on a marinade right now. Tell him to hook that on the marinade. We got his cooking partner out here, Reflection, so we gonna hook that up on a marinade.
I don't know about. I think he was forced to do it more than anything. All right, Blaze wouldn't be caught dead cooking with a chump like me. All right,
You're not just partners.
He's a Michelin star chef out there. Okay, me, I can't even make a bowl of cereal right sometimes.
Y'all ain't just partners, y'all are partners. All right, y'all are partners out here.
What does that even mean?
A partner. Come on now, partner.
Hey, Purified and Team Queso, I don't know where you're going with that call. I'll be honest, I'm really trying to play off it, but I don't know what to do. So all I know what to do is Purified Team Queso are tied 1-1. All right, and that's just the way it is. And now we're going into TG Escalation. Hey, brother, I think Purified, they got some new life. You know, I think they this is the thing about Toti, man. Toti just says, I don't care if I got to do it all myself, which he didn't. But Toti's just going to do it. You know, he's just going to do it. This is such a good series, man. I'm so happy to be here.
I told you that the road to victory for the side of Purified was right in the meat of this sandwich. They got to win 2 through 4, in my opinion. They got to go Execution, Escalation, and then win that control on Reactor, which sets up nice for them because even though it's got a lot of CQC, it's very setup heavy at times in those corners. This map, though, the initial is everything. This is a massive map. And with the way that Toti can set his teammates up to be able to lancer you down coming across those mid lanes, trying to go for that home-to-home stretch, it is unbelievably dangerous on retakes. There's very few teams on the planet that are exquisite at retakes of this map. Right. A la the Pioneers, the Knights. But on round number 1, it looks like we're going to have the same momentum, but it looks like Team Queso is going to have this different idea. They're going to go up top of the overlook, whereas it looks like Purified said, we're going to take our right hand down low. Here we are with Addvers. He's going to actually go for this flank. We've seen this become a big play call from a lot of teams lately. I believe Rebel did it last week on night number 1.
With
I believe we saw Knights do it once. So that's becoming a little wrinkle on round 1 that teams are going to have to really take consideration of.
I think teams are getting more comfortable going on the flank because also the sniper meta, right? Sniper going in hell has kind of become pretty standard. And I'm assuming it's going to happen here with Purified. And speaking of which, Toti, great shot on the problems. And he opened up with the first down as obviously that flank was taking place, giving Purified an opportunity to get their hands onto B. Big fight, though, for Sleeafer. He falls. He was trying to work his way around to get onto A, make a move, and throw Purified off and, you know, renegotiate their numbers. But at the end of the day, Purified, they've got a good foothold, but Team Queso is back for revenge. 3 strong on the overlook fight. Try and make it happen, but Kardia is down. Now 3v2. Toti out of the way, and the overextension surely is about to be in play.
Well, this is one of those situations where Purified did an incredible job off the rip, but now they're going to be losing their home hill momentarily. This 1v1 means everything. Addvers is going to probably have to chase this out. He's got to be able to do damage. Goes for the first wrap. Won't be able to find that. Left-hand wrap shot coming here just momentarily. I'm just not sure if he's going to be able to get it off. Toti is trying to fight back here, and he does get the kill onto Chavii. It has been switched out here. B-Hill has been put under control of Team Queso, and now the 3 players from Purified can actually push out the 2 players from Team Queso and go for their own home-to-home stretch.
All right, see Team Queso fighting back, a little bit of a lead, not much to take home with or feel comfortable, but obviously it can gather. But it looks like Purified, they're going to retake Team Queso's home hill relatively soon. You have to think, anyways, they also have the neutral. Team Queso might be looking at a bit of a domination attempt, but Purified's forced back, and that's because of the pressure Chavii had. And also, Purified, they didn't need to overcommit. I like that play call. I don't know if it was Toti, whoever calling that out, but hey, pump the brakes. No reason to get overzealous. Let's play the long game. But Gary sees an opportunity, and he's going to push up. But the reason why he's doing this is because he knows Kardia isn't going to be enough to hold the two players on B, at least not until Toti gets up into play. It's looking like a Purified round, and Team Queso now at a bit of a disarray calling, trying to make any play they possibly can.
Well, this is one of those situations where Purified was able to play back enough and play toward their numbers enough that allowed them still pretty much a cushion toward the later parts of this round. Sleeper's going to have to get a three-piece just to try to push over to A. There's not enough time to get to all the other hills to get decaps to be able to win these rounds right here, especially with Gary winning a 1v1 over at the C hill. It forces Cristalize into a 1v1 of his own. This should, without a doubt, be a 1-0 lead for Purified in map number 3. And I think the big takeaway from this, in my opinion, I think the big takeaway from this, in my opinion, is the fact that Purified was not only able to get a successful little rotational flank off in the early goings, but the fact that later on, the players from Team Queso never just rolled back. Purified was more than happy to show that discretion is the better part of valor twice in that round.
Yeah.
You don't have to take this fight.
No, you don't. And you don't have to go for the overextension. You don't need the domination, right? You don't need that. You already got what you wanted, and that was the retake of the neutral. You have the 2-1 hill advantage. You have the point lead. I think that discretion is something that is going to, be a big strong point, a big talking point for Purified. Whereas Team Queso, I feel they're more inclined that if they do see, okay, we have 2 hills, they're going to get greedy. They're going to go for all 3 hills if they can, and that's something Purified can capitalize on as this series, or at least as this map does continue on. Now, we will see more of an overlook fight this time around. Purified isn't sending someone on the flank calling, so it's just straight up 3v3, and Toti's going to get the first blood, but he's still not out of the woods just yet. Cristalize, he's going to get a kill up top, so now he needs Addvers to stay strong down low, and Toti also needs to stay strong up top. This is going to be 2 big team fights that are about to take place. Unfortunately for Purified, Sleefer's now in the mix. That's going to force Addvers out, and Toti, he's between a rock and a hard place. He's going to drop, and Addvers can't do anything. He's forced to retreat, but Purified has a 2-1 for now.
You see Addvers playing underneath those pillars, trying to look for the angle, and now you're going to see him try to bounce around, stay alive as long as he can, but he's going to get taken out. Gary's going to have to play back toward his own home here. He's in a 2v1. Good little wrap shot there for the first down. Now shot over the cover is going to get that kill. Goes to the back end, not going to be able to get it, but the respawns are coming off now in time. Toti will be the first to the fight. Triple cap domination threatened momentarily. Cristalize misroll right into him. This is where Queso needs to roll back.
Yep.
Discretion needs to be the better part of valor for them. You've got a player in God spot. Watch that mid lane. It's going to be Toti, or Kardia, excuse me. And Addvers is going to fly straight at Problems, but the down comes through from Chavii. Good cleanup there. It takes one player out of the fight. It allows you to continue to lancer out multiple players. Try to get kills, try to get finishes, but you see Sleeper, he's going to get challenged up top, and he's going to have to rotate back toward the other side of the overlook.
Yeah, Problems getting that down was literally everything to keep Team Queso in control of the neutral. If Problems doesn't get that down, Chavii would have kind of been, a fish out of water, if you will. He'd been able to lay down Lancer Fire, but also Purified had a player in heaven, so it wasn't really going to amount to much. And now Team Queso, once again, going for it all, but they're justified now because they understand where the numbers are at, and Kardia was the only one over here, and he's just now getting finished off. Now, Toti makes a heroic play, taking down one, but Problems is there to shut him down, and player 2, Gary, there's really nowhere to go. He can't even hop over and get a touch in time, and that's going to be a Team Queso round. Well done. And honestly, the play that made that round at least solidified it for me for Team Queso again was Problems getting that down and allowing Chavii to lancer out the down that Chavii was able to get, and then obviously snub out the next player. Without that play from Problems, without that down, this round could have played a lot differently, and who knows, Purified could have got back into it.
Yeah, without a doubt, Purified always got that threatening ability when they're that close to different fights around the map. We got the retros placed out now. We don't think either team is going to kind of go out of the normal. We might see a long shot underneath in that cabinet. if we see either team go down big, just to try to change up the meta, try to change up the way that the map is going to be playing out. Meanwhile, here in round 3, it looks like we're going to have a flash thrown up top, but a full overload toward this B hill. Sleeafer might want to run away here. You might want to find somewhere else to be besides that top heaven spot, and it looks like he's going all the way to spawn. He said, I'm gonna go to a different area code. I don't know what area code it is either. But I'm gonna try to find somewhere else to be. Meanwhile, there's one kill that comes through on the cross side of the map over at A hill. I believe player 4 is by himself. Kardia is at that B hill. Now he's gonna have some teammates. Addvers is gonna be at that closet to be able to fight against whoever else from Team Queso tries to fight up.
Nice.
Double bounce in, one player taken out. Addvers is gonna win that though. Addvers gets a big 1v win to take the pressure off of Kardia. Even though Kardia dies there, Addvers is right there for a quick cleanup. Now it's gonna be Gary just, bouncing around as long as he can to try to stay alive, but he's gonna go down.
He couldn't get away there, unfortunately. He was kind of pinned up, and he had the retro. You know, the game plan, I think, was if a player overexposed himself on C, use the retro, take him out. But, you know, at the end of the day, Gary dying there isn't the biggest issue because Purified obviously won the fight on B thanks to Addvers just a little bit earlier. Now damage control once more. Chavii getting the decap. Addvers can't get there in time. And actually, Cristalize laying down a lot of firepower despite him taking some damage himself. And that's going to be key because now B will be locked in from the down player of Chavii, who's yet to be finished, and finally he does, but not in the nick of time, and he gets to capture. Team Queso's got the 2-1 and a recovery from Purified now in play.
And I love that angle from Toti. Toti knows that he's got that player really tagged up, and he's going to be able to push up there, try to get some shots on. He has to try to get some help here toward the backside of this lane. 2 players are going to be pushing up, 3 players now at B. Toti is threatening at any given moment. He's going to be able to pressure up onto Cristalize. Cristalize is not going to be able to sit there and just Lancer out the way that he would like to, but he does have a down over toward the inside of that hill. Meanwhile, nobody's getting killed off from Purified. These shots back here from Problems and other players have been enough to really win them this back lane fight. They're going to be able to pressure back into B momentarily. Gary's all by himself. He's going to go down. Only the A hill is untouched right now, but I think Team Queso can settle down and sit for just a moment to try to get this lead back because a full 4-man push is about to come out from Purified. They are all back off the spawn, and it'll be just moments before they come back into this next fight.
Yeah, and obviously this is everything. If Purified fails this retake attempt, that's going to be GG. Team Queso, they'll take the 2-1 lead on training grounds, putting us into the final round of the first half. So this is a do-or-die moment for Purified. They've got to make it happen, and the lead shift has now taken place, only momentarily. Team Queso gets it, but just in the nick of time, Addvers will be onto B, and he's going to get the capture. Now, if Toti can win this fight, he can, unfortunately. That would have sealed the deal, but I do think there's enough time for Team Queso to get on A. Purified hasn't won this yet.
Yeah, Purified has got a long route to go for victory because that home hill has been decapped, and now these other 2 players have to be concerned about what's going to happen to this B hill. Problems all by his lonesome will get taken down here, but they still have the team win because nobody was able to get that decap over at the B hill. Purified, that is a big round win for them, being able to take that team fight and hold on to that B hill. 3 rounds away from taking the map count lead in this matchup. I was really impressed by the back and forth there mid-round by Purified and Team Queso, especially on that back lane. All the different exchanges we saw, teammates firing back and forth against one another. I think those are the things that you're going to have to be a little bit more solidified in for Team Queso if you want to come away with some of these round wins.
Yeah, great job. And just, I mean, really, that was a nail-biter towards the end. You got to respect Team Queso doing everything in their power to keep that as close as they did. Purified, though, they knew that they needed to retake the neutral, and they did it just in the nick of time. And now we're in the final round of the first half, once again fighting for the top, or should be for Overlook. Toti leading the charge, not pumping the brakes this time around. And it is going to be Gary who's going to be, Gary actually is down despite hitting some amazing shots. And it looks like Team Queso is actually going to be able to make a breakthrough. The only person to stop them is Addvers, and the retro is great, but I mean, is it going to be that well, or at least that good if you have 2 players pushing you? Unfortunately, his down, and Team Queso going for a domination.
That was a real attempt by Addvers to continue to hold back and be able to play out against his opponents. And now we've got a triple cap domination being threatened, and it should go way of Team Queso. Team Queso very gamey on this round. I really love the way that they were double pushing Addvers at the home hill. That retro, it's really good. If you had an active and he was able to hit basically all headshots, he has a real chance to get both downs or at least double downs. But without the active and not hitting every single one of those shots, it's just a matter of time before they get close enough to be able to get the shot onto him to be able to get that down. Love that teamwork out of Team Queso. Good round by them. I think right now we're trading out right-hand rounds. Whoever has right hand down at that U has pretty much won every round back and forth. Yeah, every time you have right hand at the U, you win the round. That's how this story has gone thus far.
So who's going to break the mold, right? Who's going to be the one to finally win on the opposite ends? Well, we're obviously switching over towards E now, and I'm curious how this is going to work out because I think this benefits Team Queso quite well because now they're getting the fight that makes them comfortable, the head-to-head battle, which is what made them so successful on Ritual so many times when obviously Purified was fighting tooth and nail for each and every hill. Team Queso, though, is on the outside looking in. They finally pushed through, instant thrown out from both sides, and now it's up to Toti. He's got some flames in front of him, even though he throws out the utility, bumps and breaks in Team Queso for a little bit, but that team kill hurts Colin. And now Addvers, he's feeling regret. He's forced to back up, but can't get away. He's down and dusted. Gary now by himself. And if that team kill doesn't happen, if Addvers doesn't kill Toti, does Purified win that fight? Maybe, but you can't go back in time, and Team Queso doesn't want to. They're going for it all. They're going for the domination.
Good little bait and switch there. Chavii pulling up that hill, getting the first shot to be baited out. Going for this back A. He actually has the player fall right in front of him, but he's not able to get that kill. Now these players are going to be squished. Problems is going to have to figure out which fight he wants to take first. He's going to be last alive. Goes for a back A on a Toti. Cristalize. He finds himself in no man's land. As quick as you had the momentum,
that's crazy.
You have given it up, Team Queso. I don't know how else to put this, but grow up. You don't have to dominate every round.
My man said, just straight up grow up. Like it's the way you said that. I've heard that many times.
It's little boy energy when you've got to dominate every round. Suffocate these kids.
Yeah.
It's so much more demoralizing going forward in a series. It's so much more agonizing to be beaten 250 to whatever every round.
Sure.
I remember way back when the 16-0 perfect map count for UIU when it was all Escalation. You know how many times they really dominated teams in maps? It was 3.
Only when they were doing the UIU special.
3 maps.
That was it. Right.
That they dominated people. Every other map was them just beating you 250 to something. Yeah. Frustrating you to all high heavens. Big flank out from Problems. He's trying to help get that first kill. They need to be able to puncture out Toti before he can get one. He's going to go down. E-Hill's going to get decapped. They are going to get this lead back. But at what cost? I mean, this round should have been out of hand right now.
It should have been. I agree with you.
I'm
and it
sorry
goes
for
back
being
to
so bad. Sorry.
Hey, look, man, it's okay. Hey, I know what you went through before the show, okay? I know what you went through before the show, so I told you, let it out and let your anger out on some bad plays. But you know what? We talked about that in the beginning, Colin, and Team Queso, unlike Purified's okay with suffocating. They're okay with extending the rounds, whereas Team Queso, they want it all, and they don't like to pump the brakes, but that goes back to them being, a bit younger, right? They're all gas, no brakes. Even so, though, the 2-to-1 hill advantage in Purified's hands not going to be enough. They need to get over towards F, and I don't think they have enough time unless Toti can make some big plays. He cannot. So Team Queso will still win this round, but I agree with you, Colin, to echo that sentiment. It could have been a lot different if obviously they don't try to commit for everything.
Yeah, and now they've got a chance to take a secondary lead. They've won back-to-back rounds. First round won by a team that did not have right-hand advantage at that back U. So if they can come here and win another round, they've got a chance to not only get that decap, that disable on those incendiary grenades, but they've got the power position on that U side. They're going to have that ability to right-hand advantage the back U. Let's see what Purified does. It looks like Purified's actually going to go for that long shot. I told you, it might be 2 rounds in a row before somebody places it. Purified lost 2 rounds in a row. Here they go.
All right, let's see what's going to take place. That sniper, it changes things up. It really does, and nobody knows it best than Toti himself. This was something noble when he was on that roster, introduced into the meta, and it's kind of stuck. It really has. Almost every time I see training grounds now, more often than not, you're going to see a sniper in play, and like I said, Toti knows this fight best. He gets the opening kill, and he gets away with the sniper. And even that E-Hill, though, not going so smoothly, however. Team Queso does have one member there. It should be a Purified Hill, though, if they can play this right. And Toti continues to pop off, but you can't let him die. Kardia gets the big pickup he needed, but he gets chunked. He gets chunked, and the sniper now is out of play. But Kardia is still there, but he didn't gain anything. I don't know if Toti needed to commit fully there. He would have gained so much value having that sniper in play. But if Purified wins E, I guess really nothing is lost too much. But regardless, that sniper could have been huge.
And now we're going to have another initial here. It's going to be a 3v3 over here at this mid-neutral hill. The last player for Purified is playing at their home. They were mine. Just waiting in case somebody wants to push out across. Addvers, though, with that snub in hand, was waiting for somebody to try to come up those stairs. He's going to be able to get a big lot of damage as soon as somebody comes through. I like this smoke play from him. Addvers is basically making it so they can maneuver around this back U without ever really getting called off here. Incendiary long range from Gary. My man said, Kobe. He called it. He got it.
Oh, and up close, too. He gets to Kobe, but can he also hit the shots up close? Well, he missed a couple, but that's going to at least force Team Queso down into Addvers' hands. Gary now will drop down low to join Addvers in the meantime. It is a 3v3. Big fight for E. Domination coming into play. Team Queso gets the touch just in the nick of time. Not only on E, but also on D, but it's going to be short-lived, and Purified, for the first time, will get a domination. You got to say, man, a round well played, at least in my opinion. The only critique that I have is, again, going back to Toti pushing up onto that E fight, getting chunked, losing that sniper. He was justified, though, Colin, in that play, at least from what I could see in that short moment. I understand there was a player down. He had one player to his right, so technically it was a 2v1 in that moment. The pickup hadn't yet happened, or at least occurred. So I get why Toti would want to push up. Unfortunately, he gets chunked, but again, I want to see him have more preservation with his life when he does have the sniper. We'll get a repeat of it. We're tied up 3-3. It's anybody's ball game.
Yeah, we're going to get a tie ball game here coming out into this next round. I think if you are the side of Purified, you're feeling good, you're feeling great, no matter how that last round went. On the opposite side of this, I think right now, Team Queso, they've got to get a big fight win. They've got to be able to dominate this initial opening. They almost came away with it last time. Toti, though, that last gasp kill was huge for his squad, and now they're getting the extra Lancer fire here. I love this angle. Ribs is showing us exactly why Purified is able to stay in these fights. Now Toti, he finds himself in a 2v1. He has to try to come away with one, but he's going to get down. He's going to get taken out. Team Queso needs to reset here and settle in.
And it's going to be a hard reset. Team Queso's got so much momentum now. The silver lining is Kardia has managed to go onto the flank. That's going to force Team Queso to send 2 members back, and that includes Cristalize, and he's going to be forced to go up top. So at this point in time for Kardia, he has a good opportunity to not only secure F, or at least lock it in place even longer, but also get the sniper out of the way. But it's going to be short-lived, but an opportunity. So for that, Purified is able to spot out. They push their way onto E. But unfortunately, they do lose 2 members in the process, but so does Team Queso, so all is not lost, but it seems like Team Queso now have a solid foothold onto F and onto E, the 2-1 locked in place. And for Toti, as long as he can hold his ground just a little bit longer, he will have reinforcements in the form of Addvers and Kardia, but he just got to take some time, right? Toti is now there, Cristalize, sniper in hand, smoke is out, and Purified is onto E. The thing about it is, Cristalize has so much power with the sniper, right? At least in his positioning, but he's not getting a shot call, and he's not getting an opportunity to hit anything. So therefore, Purified looking good. They'll take the lead back momentarily, and now Team Queso has to formulate a plan to come back.
Their plan is going to hinge on whether or not Cristalize can find a pick. He's going to have to get a headshot on somebody. He actually drops that long shot off on that cover, and they're going to transfer the long shot over to Sleeafer. Sleeafer versus Toti here, because Toti has the Marksa, and so basically you're looking at 2 long-range rifles to put out a ton of damage quickly. The 3-man push from Team Queso up to the top side of that overlook is going to be hard to deal with, but I mean, look at the way that Purified play back. They know they have the ability to kind of sit down, relax, take whatever fight they wish to have, and Toti with the Marksa, he's doing his job perfectly. This is what I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen. When I said you don't have to take every fight, you do not have to take every fight. Toti played back with the Marksa the entire time. Those are the things that can win you rounds. Look at my man's up over 20k damage now.
And he's consistently like that, right? He's consistently over 20k damage. The thing about Toti is he, again, on this roster, he is 100% carrying his weight, right? And he is uplifting Gary, Kardia, and Addvers. You look at Purified from week 1 to the Purified that is playing now, there really is a big difference. There's a big improvement, and that is such a great thing to see and something you expect from Toti. Now, the shock is going to be down in play. No disables will come out. So at this point in time, disables are being, going to be saved. Speaking in regards to Purified, right, for that round 9, if we do get to that point. But an opportunity for Purified to take a 2-1 lead in the series is here. And honestly, that's big because we have Reactor coming up next, and we've already seen Team Queso do so well on control, and that is their strongest game mode. So for Purified, this round should guarantee at least a map 5, or who knows, even a good series 3-1. Great opening shots, though, coming out. And Purified, despite losing E, now can easily come around, bully out Chavii, bully out player 8, and then have an opportunity to get the 2-1 back.
And Chavii's trying to fight for his life over here. My man is swinging wildly to try to come away with a kill on Purified's side of the map. But now you see Sleeafer. He's going to be mounted up with that mark. So I actually talked about that in the pregame. He used to be one of the most feared men on the planet with this gun in his hand. Yep. Little body shot there. But look at the way Purified has one player up top on the overlook. If they don't know he's there, they got to know he's there. There we go. I was going to say, they're going to get the mark out. I think Sleeafer has to basically tell Problems that it's his job to make sure that they don't get flanked out from the top of the overlook. But instead, they're going to send 2 players up there, and they're going to allow Sleeafer to try to be the damage output to protect his teammates up there. Here comes the smoke. Here comes the flash. Toti, last alive, he's going to throw an incendiary. He's going to go down, and they're going to win this E fight. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is leading up to a possible 4-4 round number 9. But right now, we're getting a little over-aggressive, if you ask me. We're sending 3 players. One of them's already down. 2 players on the hill. There's a good shock. I like that shock. That should buy him the time necessary, or at least the stun necessary to stop anybody from getting into the hill. We will indeed see our first round number 9. Final round of a map here between Purified and Team Queso.
First round 9, baby. You love to see it. Might be a long night, but honestly, Colin, I know me and you, we're locked in, and we're going to enjoy every bit of it. Now, one thing about, you said Team Queso, being a bit overzealous. I think in that point, that was probably the most justified domination that they had. You mentioned a well-placed shot, plus you still had Sleeafer on the overhang, on the overlook, just firing shot after shot of that Marxist. So overall for Team Queso, that was a well-endowed push, at least in my opinion. Now, Ensigns are out of the way, so that might make the E-fight a little bit more chaotic, and obviously that's for the Marxa and the neutral. But you know what Purified's headspace is going to be. They're going for that sniper. Toti wants that sniper in. He placed it for a reason. Now you just got to get it. Kardia's got the overhang. That's going to make it hard for Cristalize and Problems to exit, as Cristalize is currently in there with the sniper. So Addvers, curious if he goes for the push. Cristalize actually getting out, and Kardia not having as big of an impact as I thought he would.
And they're going to catch him slipping. They're going to be pulled up on his baby steps. Toti, he's going to get the first brick, the second concrete block, the down the up A. My man Toti was going for another highlight reel play right there. Hey, look, I know baby steps is copyrighted by you, but my man was waiting there. He was waiting there for him.
Oh, man. Dude, hey, I don't even say baby steps anymore because I was bullied so much for saying it, all right? So if you want to con that, if that is going to be your phrase now, own it, baby. Take it over. Because everybody's going to be, they're going to be like, whatever, dude. Baby steps? Yeah, that's an official call out because Colin's saying it. But when I say it, I'm an idiot.
Hey, no, so I love the baby step call out. I use baby steps all the time. I used to call them bottle steps. Instead of baby steps, I'd call them bottle steps. I'd call them baby steps. You know what I'm saying? Like, other words for baby, just to try my best not to say baby steps. I came up with anything that was related to babies that wasn't baby.
Bottle steps. I don't know if that's going to catch on, but you know what, Colin? Hey, if you like it, you love it, well, then you can have some more of it. It looks like Purified, though, they're back in for revenge. They've got the man advantage, and they also have a player maybe potentially playing around onto Eho. Yeah, it's going to be Kardia currently sitting there trying to lock it in, and it is going to be locked in. So that's going to allow Purified to come back and at least have some longevity. Now, one thing about Purified, we were talking about it, they like to play the long game. If they don't like it, they're at least not scared to do so. But they've got to stop Team Queso from pushing through this choke point. But Addvers is keeping them at bay. He's keeping them guessing, and he's, at least making them take a little bit of a pause.
You know what that shot was called? That's an Ayo shot. You hit somebody with that, and they're like, Ayo!
Ooh, look at these shots. What do you call these? I call this the blender, bro. Oh, no.
That is. That's
there, my top came off. Top kill. That's not a blender.
No, that's the ninja. That's the ninja right there,
yes,
baby. You can't stop that blender. That bad boy is sharp as all. Get the heck out. They just throwing bullets down a small hallway, hoping that somebody's gonna walk right. Toti with the retro. Hey yo,
and the sniper. And the sniper. You think it's over? You think it's over?
Somebody call the Blackboard police.
It's over. Look at that headshot. Clean off. Clean off, man. Bop. No worries. Cross map. Who can? Hey, what are you rolling up on me for, man? I'm Toti. Wait, double body shot. You can't do anything to me. Wait, I'm gonna miss rolling to the stairs just to style on you. I don't care. I'm gonna get another headshot. Toti can do it all. Toti can do it all, baby. He can't be slowed down. And that's after the checkout play. And there it is. Round 9. No worries. Purified lock it in. They're up 2-1 in the series.
I ain't never seen somebody call game harder than what Toti just did right there. My man said retro to the long shot, to the headshot, to the double body, to a nut. My man was just sitting at half court staring around like, y'all know this ain't gonna matter, right? Y'all go ahead, hit the layup real quick. Ain't gonna matter. None of this matters.
What? Craig, you need to chill out. Anyways, with that being said, Purified.
Craig?
Just put, look, I'm not gonna, Craig's wild. Craig's out there talking and just nonsense and also in all caps at all times.
Oh, my man Brute. I was like, wait a minute, what Craig are we talking about?
Craig the Brute, man. The only guy whose caps lock is broken. Okay, he's just consistently typing in literally caps at all time. Craig, I love that you're here, man. But some things you say, man, I'm just like, you know what's up. But anyway, getting some validation. Blaze saying baby steps, real call out though. Hey, you love to see it. And I knew it was. I just said it too much. I think that was the problem. But hey, back on track with Purified. Hey, Toti said enough is enough with that round 9. When he get that sniper in his hands, Gary was impressive in his own right on checkout. But Toti was his own different beast. All right, in that round number 9 with the sniper. Well done from Toti. You really do love to see it. Now they're up 2-1. In my opinion, these last 2 maps, checkout, training ground, were hugely important because I don't know how Reactor is going to play out. But again, Team Queso is so talented on control that at this point in time, at least in my eyes, Purified guaranteed a map number 5.
Yeah, Purified's trying to send us to a map 5 one way or the other. I think TKU has to come away with a big win on Reactor, but it's going to be hard. I said the path to victory for Purified was 2, 3, and 4, and they've got a great chance to do it. Think about the rounds they won on Escalation. Every time Purified had a chance to set up, it was ball game. They were throwing up shots from half court. They were hitting them out of the park. They were like the Astros. They knew what you were throwing. They said, we already know what curveball's coming, baby. You might as well just haul that one off. It was one of those situations where Purified knows that the setup could be their best friend in some of these situations against a very aggressive, very in-your-face Team Queso team. Yep. And we're going into Reactor, which will lend itself to those setups and those 4 corner hills. This map right here is going to show us the maturity of a Purified, and this is one of those reasons where when we saw this squad get put together, I'm sure a lot of people were shaking their head like, what is Toti doing? He's coming off of a multi-time runner-up team in Noble. Yeah, they fell short to a Knights team in the last one, but I mean, they were to grand finals a bunch of times. Well, Toti wants to show the world, I can do it with everybody. Addvers, he wants to get back there because Addvers has been to the mountaintop a few times. He hadn't planted his flag, but he's been there. Kardia and Gary, they've been there. They've been close. I mean, Gary not really been close, but I mean, he's been at base camp. Toti trying to take him to the promised land, though. He's trying to take him.
That promised land, hey, this might be the first victory for Purified. It really might be. But he could have played a lot differently. Like Team Queso, in my opinion, they lost that. They didn't lose it. Like, a lot of praise to Toti and the great plays he made. Purified played that very well strategically. But Team Queso straight up lost training grounds and they beat themselves because of their over-aggression. And not even just, it was that one round, Colin. Obviously, it came down to a round 9. It came down to one round. If they just would have pumped the brakes and not tried to commit everything, they could have won this 5-4, So in my opinion, Team Queso really did beat themselves. And despite the fireworks, obviously, from Toti with the sniper in that last round, which really solidified it. He won that last round without question. But, again, that's something that Team Queso is going to have to battle with and something that I do worried about, at least longevity-wise. Great gun skill, mechanically sound, right? But you expect that from all teams in the league. Now it's about time to start using your brain and start thinking ahead and what really is the best play. You know, sometimes you got to bring out that shield. You can't fight a you can't fight a war only with a sword. You know, you're going to make a big impact. You're going to make a big dent. There's going to be bodies laying around you. But at the end of the day, you do have to back off and just take a breather and really see things for what they are. And Team Queso, they've got to learn some patience and really reserve that right to just continue to push forward. So yeah, Team Queso, they lost training grounds because they beat themselves.
I will say this, Escalation to me really mirrors a lot of the lessons I learned in major sports growing up. And to this day, you can watch major sports and see the same things. You think about football. If you don't turn the ball over, you limit your penalties. You don't make mistakes, basically. It's really hard for a team to beat you in Escalation. If you don't make errors in baseball and you put the ball on the ground and make the opposing team make all the plays, it's real hard to beat you in baseball. You think about hockey, you keep the puck on their side of the ice, you trap people against the wall. You don't give up many goals that way because you're always keeping them on the defense. What you just saw Team Queso do was just, they were hungry like the wolf, my man. You thought it was the 1980s and London was calling all of a sudden. You were seeing them go head over heels in love with, I'm going to get another kill and I'm going to get another kill and I'm going to go for that hill. That's all well and good when you're dominating a control map by 100 points. It ain't so good when you've got to build that 100-point lead in an Escalation. Now you go over to Reactor. Your first hill is that mid-neutral. You got a chance to play for the torque or the frags in the middle of the map, as well as play over the hill. You've got to be careful about what your aggression point is. Do you try to build that lead again? Do you try to go for the same thing you did in map 1 if you are Team Queso? Are you going to go straight to the hill, try to set up, try to avoid that torque bow, avoid those frag grenades? Or are you going to try to throw a wrinkle in there, play heavy for the power weapons, and then rotate around for that hill and try to come back and try to get that 20-point lead early, try to get that 40-point lead early, so on and so forth.
And that early lead is really what did Purified in whenever it came to Ritual. You know, that they had a 100-point deficit. And despite them playing phenomenally well in the middle portion, even leading up into the later portion, the reality was that lead was just a little bit too much for Purified to overcome. Despite it, though, they still brought it to 300-244, which was pretty impressive with the way that they started. I thought it was going to be just a train wreck. I really did. And I saw the series just absolutely being one-sided towards Team Queso, but they really did switch things around. And I think now that the series has matured, I believe Purified, they're much more warmed up. And I think they also have some newfound confidence heading into Reactor. So I don't think Reactor control is going to play much the same as it did as Ritual. I do believe, because we're seeing better plays and better shots and better mechanics already come out from Toti. We're seeing great plays from Addvers, who's pulling up in multiple positions, multiple spots. Team kills aside, Addvers is still playing a lot better than he was off of the start. I had to point that out there because I got to be fair and unbiased. But, you know, I'm going to go back to something you pointed out, and you did mention on Reactor, on those corner hills, it is a setup heavy hill, right? I agree with that. I really do. But you look at Ritual, some of those hills were set up heavy too. And who was more often than not there set up ready to go at least at the start? That was Purified. But Team Queso with ease, and I mean with ease, was breaking through that defensive setup. No matter how Purified would let 20 points go here or there, their setup wasn't good enough to stop Team Queso more often than not. And that's my biggest worry for Reactor, because once Chavii, once Problems is pushing through those narrow choke points, you can't really Lancer. You can't really stop. It's kind of just all Nasher fight from there. And I got to benefit Team Queso from that point.
Taylor, I love you, and I don't want to disagree with you, but
I want you to. I really do, because it sounded really good, whatever I said. It sounded great.
My main man, Lee Corso, not so fast, my friend. All right. You know what the big difference between Ritual and Reactor is when you set up on them corner hills? Ritual's got about 400 billion more covers that you can sneak around, that you can take to try to keep the damage low. When you come into those four corners on Reactor, it's either a long, low hallway to have to come up some stairs, or you got to come across one of them big sides, and those sides have 2 stairwells and about 4 covers apiece to take between you and them. You can pepper people up so much easier on Reactor. Reactor is so much easier to set up and Lancer out. There are more angles. It's easier to cross people on this map. Ritual has a ton of coverage. There are a lot of little blocks that you can just kind of bounce around. You saw Gary mid-map bounce around some covers before he pushed into that mid-altar fight to keep himself either at over half-life or all the way back to fully healed off of his regeneration. Now you're going to go into Reactor. There's not that many covers. It's easier to set up. That's the big difference.
And it could be a big difference. I'm going to stand by it. I still think, though, if Team Queso can close that gap, I don't know. I just don't see Purified being able to go against. I don't know. Like I said, though, the series has matured quite a bit. It really has. And Toti and Addvers and Gary, Kardia, like they're playing much, much better. And this is the thing, too. Team Queso does have a little bit of pressure on them because they've lost 2 maps in a row. So the mentality might not be the same as it would be, obviously, at a fresh start, right? You know, you look at Fury 1. Fury 1 is excellent on map 1, but then after that, where do they go? They lose 3 after that, you know? So slowly but surely, the momentum starts to shift. But first team fight going to the way of Team Queso, and they are going to benefit, not only with Sleeafer getting the nades, but also with Chavii getting the torque bow. So Purified already starting off a bit loose, much like they did on Ritual.
Well, that's what Team Queso has to do. They have to build up this lead. Good little torque bow pick by Chavii here. Secondary splash damage coming in. He's going to try to find one more. This is actually going to become a wasted arrow. That's terrible. Never want to have those. He didn't even get a chance to find somebody to get splash damage on. A long time in this map, number 1. You know what Chavii's doing way over here by his lonesome? He's holding off the spawn point for the next hill. Quick little headshot out. I thought he was just going to stick him in the body, but my man said, no, I'm going to get the heady real quick. Hold up. 3v3 over here at the other hill. Big body shots, getting damage, getting downs. They're not going to be able to clean any of these up. This was the problem that they had on execution. But now, Cristalize.
Dance on him. Dance on him.
Tap dancing a little too early, baby. Tap dancing a little too early.
After a 3-piece like that, as smooth as it was, I mean, honestly, I think he could dance a little bit. Because Team Queso knows this is their strongest game mode. You know, they're feeling confident, they're feeling good. Now, we talked about Purified getting set up early on. Well, not only did they get every single point, or at least all the points from that first hill, Purified still sitting at 0, they also set themselves up early on for this next hill, forcing Purified to be the ones to try to go for the break. And Gary wants to, and Toti's thinking it through. You gotta just go for it. But Cristalize, Sleeafer, Chavii, look at that Lancer Fire just hurting. You talked about Pepper. Well, they're adding a little bit of salt in too, because Toti and Gary, they gotta be frustrated. They can't make a break, but finally here it comes.
Yeah, they're going to try to push out here. They're already set up. Big Lancer damage coming out from Kardia. But there is a big frag grenade, but it's going to take out problems as well. Kardia is going to be pushed off this hill. He's going to be trying to hold down this spot. Big back A out. Cristalize is going to misroll. Tries to get that last little angle on. He's going to get that shot. Chavii's going to try to roll as quick as he can. Try to crawl back to his teammates. They're going to take up this cover. Take a look at what I'm talking about here. Flash comes in. It's going to be long range, but now they got to run down that long haul. And once they get down that long haul, they got to come up a small set of stairs. Splash damage from the torque is all well and good, but if you're not getting kills, if you're not picking up downs, you aren't doing anything in the world to help your teammates. But a double kill from the fragmentation. Once again, the explosives coming through big for Team Queso.
And Sleeafer sees a torque bow just bolt right in front of him. No worries. He's still going to lay down that fire. 90. I didn't think it could get any worse from that first control off the start. It has gotten worse. Okay, 100-2. Now, Colin, you said it best right off that first reactor, or excuse me, after that first ritual control. You said even if it's a blowout and it's one-sided, you're still not disappointed because control always delivers. Well, hopefully this really does deliver, because at this point, Team Queso, they're not slowing down.
Yeah, now you see Toti just trying to get a shot on here, trying to put out damage to slow up this rotation from Team Queso. They see that the next hill is going to spawn here soon. It's going to be a 106-point lead at this point, trying to make it even bigger. But Toti up top, there's another one of them AEO shots I like to talk about. You're looking down at somebody, got the elevation. You can just put out a big pellet of damage onto him. One player down from Purified in the back of the spawn. They're not able to push him here, and this is what I'm talking about. See how big and open this spot is? It's very different from Ritual in the idea that it's very hard to take a bunch of little covers and get your health back if you can get some team Lancers. Double Lancer on, maybe even a triple Lancer. That shot grenade, all it's going to do is block you out of that spot. Cristalize can't even move in for a decap now. Kardia is going to go on a flank here. Wonder if he'll get called out. He's going to go for the double bounce and a big back A on the problems. Those are the plays that I told you Kardia had to make to give his team an edge, and that right there helps them solidify a ton of points on this P3.
Not as one-sided anymore. Not as one-sided anymore. You love to see it. You really do. Hey, Purified It's only been, what, 2 or 3 hills? They're now coming back, and they're feeling solid. Now, you mentioned those long lines of sight. Well, there it is. Case in point. Toti laying it down. But now the Nash are out. 2 players pushing. And unfortunately for him, Cristalize will get the best of them. And then that's only going to be scrap time going towards the way of Team Queso. Purified can use this opportunity off the respawn to go ahead and secure themselves for next. Speaking of which, Gary also has the torque bow. And this is a perfect hill to use it. It's exposed. It's open. It's centralized. But you got a sneaky beaver him. Chavii getting a nice body onto Addvers. He'll get that first kill. Gary, though, will follow it up, taking down Sleeafer. And now Chavii, he's pinned up. He is at least going to close the gap to get the torque bow kill onto the guy that just stuck him. But it looks like Team Queso is still going to have the hill to themselves. So despite all the theatrics, Team Queso still will garner more of a lead.
Yeah, Team Queso trying to continue to pound away at them, trying to make sure that they don't have a chance to come back in this one like they did in map number 1. Chavii's going to throw that flash and try to get out, but, I mean, he didn't have anywhere to go, nowhere to hide. Toti's going to win the fight over top of the cover. Now 2 players left alive inside of the hill. It's going to be a 2v4. If they get any kills here, it's going to be a miracle. And they do not. I don't even think they got anybody to half health right there. That was a clean sweep retake by Purified. Really love that out of them. Sleeafer, he's going to hop. Oh, he has no idea. Easiest 175 of Toti's life. Now Toti's going to push out toward that other side of the map. I really like this because now Purified knows that maybe Team Queso is playing away from them. Team Queso is trying to play toward that next hill, try to get set up early, and Purified is going to push straight into it. They're going to get 2 downs. They're going to maybe even get 2 kills. They do clean up both of those. All 4 players from Purified left alive. Sleeafer is by himself, pushed up on multiple players. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. And Team Queso, I mean, they are falling apart before our very eyes, if you ask me, because they have really given up a chunk of points, and they've given up a ton of kills very recently.
And this is where the value of Toti really comes to or at least comes to the forefront, right? This is where Toti can truly guide his troops and where Team Queso might be lacking, because do they have an IGL that can really bring everybody back onto the same page? It's a younger roster. It's a younger roster, it really is. So now it's about Team Queso slowing things down and really figuring out, okay, this is our course of action. Yeah, we stumbled a little bit. We took a tumble, but no worries. We can still come back. Hey, after all, they still had the lead, right? But Toti was looking unstoppable in that fight. It was just something a bit different whenever he pushed that. But unfortunately, he's dead. He's gone. And Team Queso slowly but surely continuing to close the gap and get up. And in fact, they're going to be on the hill. And one by one, they're continuing to take down Purified, who has no choice but to continually push up. But unfortunately, they're not getting anywhere close. And Chavii cross map is still being a factor with that torque bow.
And the more splash damage he puts out, the longer somebody has to sit there and not be able to step back out of that cover. Good triple lancer for the almost immediate down and then the kill. If I'm Team Queso, I'm going through the middle of the map right here. You've got to push out. Maybe 10 seconds left. You're going to have to get everybody off of the hill. You're going to have to win another big fight here. Big splash damage. Team kill, though, out of Chavii will shut down the rotation by his team. He needed that to go a little bit higher, but instead he kills his own teammate, and now they're getting pushed. They're getting flushed. They need to take the 2v1 in the next hill. What are you doing?
Hold on. You're losing it. Colin's losing it. By the end of this, he's not going to be saved, man, if the night continues as it has continued, man. Purified coming back, though, stronger than ever. 130 to 181. Team Queso still holding on, but like you said, they're unraveling a bit. And that's what I was saying. They need to get that dominant IGL to say, hey, we are good to go. But maybe an over opportunity. Problems. Good movement taking down Toti and Addvers. That's 2 to his name. And he can slowly but surely get up to the way of the new hill. Purified still has it, but I think it's going to be short-lived. And there it is. As Kardia and Gary do die off, Purified, or it should be Team Queso, will in fact establish themselves on the hill with 38 seconds remaining. Purified, they're not done just yet. You got Toti, the tip of the spear, leading the charge, forced to back up. Purified, one more attempt at a retake.
Yeah, you see them trying to push up here now. They don't want to give Team Queso that over 200-point lead that they had earlier. Addvers is down. Problems maybe a little dicey there. Gary's going to pick up this torque. Little splash damage attempt, but it's not going to be far enough. It's not going to get any damage. Now he throws another one out to the backside. He's going to get splash damage onto the backside. Quick little reload. Could get him the kill, but instead we're going to get a full nullification here, down to almost 10 seconds left, and that will give Team Queso the 200-point advantage. Oh, hey, yo, good shot there by Gary.
Yeah, he's connecting shots.
We're going back to P1. Going back to P1 here with a 211, 212 to 150. Cristalize, I was really actually hoping he might try to set up and ooh, I like it. Oh, hey, oh, baby. Hit him with the frags now. Oh, he was trying to get the damage. Throw another one. Throw them both. Throw everything in the kitchen sink. Throw the dryer at him.
Oh, he's got to.
Oh, hey, yo, there we go, baby. There's a down. There's some damage. Uh-oh.
Sleeafer around the corner. Sleeafer around the corner. Gary, go, Gary. Gary couldn't get in there. Chavii wasn't having it, no sir. And that's going to be Team Queso forcing them back and doing it convincingly. And this is a critical moment, echoing your sentiment from Ritual, right? Getting above that 250 mark, especially with Purified at such a deficit. This is where things start to get dicey. And I don't care how strong mentally you are, comebacks like this don't happen often, and they're hard to do. 251 plus now for Team Queso Purified. Looks like they're going to be, having their only option of winning this series. And a map number 5 still, though. Again, as I said before, you can't count Toti and his crew out, but they've got so much work to do. And it seems like every time they get an edge, right, Team Queso starts to get discombobulated, frustrated, making some mistakes. Purified looks like they're coming back. Team Queso always finds a way to just to get the edge, right, one last time, to win that final team fight, and then continue to garner some more points. But hey, Purified, they've got the hill, and they're continuing to get richer. They can get above 200, I think they'll be okay.
Well, you see them already rotate into that next hill. They're trying to get in a position to once again, this is what they did on Ritual, where they just left hills early. They're trying to get in a spot that they can set up. They're going to get that down. They're going to let that player bleed out on the ground. They're going to see that Gary's going to pick up the new torque. They got to get in a spot to try to shut Gary down, and I think they might have a chance here if they can get this first kill as this player comes up those stairs. I love that spot, though. The way that he's able to sit right there and keep it neutralized for just a moment keeps them from garnering as many points as they maybe need to. Smokes, flash grenades. Here comes the splash damage onto Cristalize, and now they're going to push in. Toti knows that he can get an easy wrap shot down. Gary, I think he knows the problems is there. If not, they do now. Goes for the backslide, goes for the easy chunk, doesn't get it. And the whole kit and caboodle on this hill gets it to 250 to 230, so you know Queso has to fight back into this one.
Gotta fight back. Oh, Gary trying to go for the shot. Misses, unfortunately. Cristalize, though, holding his ground, but not for long. Purified still very much so in this. In Queso, though, they really don't have a leg to stand on. 40 seconds remaining, and they've got only 2 players that can realistically push in at the moment. Once player 2, Cristalize, does join Chavii, they'll have a much better chance of going in for a bit of a pincer. It's chaos. It really is. It's total chaos at this point in time. Team Queso does get a couple of points, but ultimately, though, looks like Purified still holding their ground, 10 toes down. Couple more loose ends they've got to tie up, and it's going to be Chavii, and he's gone done and dusted. And that's going to put Purified 212 to 264. And Team Queso, man, they've got to play this right. Like I said, Team Queso, they always find a way to get that edge, to find a way to continue to come back. But Purified with Toti, they're mentally tough, Colin. And it looks as if they're not done yet. They're continually fighting back. But they need this retake, and they need it very soon.
Queso set up once again on the next hill. They need 36 seconds. Long-range shock might force Sleeafer and Problems back into their own spot, but it's actually right between them. It doesn't give them a chance to get any kind of movement here. They're not going to have any kind of push-up. Toti has to be the first line of defense. I'm surprised Cristalize, yeah, he did pull the Nasher out. He pulled back as well. One player going on the flank. They're going to send Gary into a 1v1 spot, and that's going to be huge for him. He's been great at these spots before, and any damage he can put out is just going to be great and gravy for his squad. Gary's going to be full red, double bounce in. Needs one more shot onto Chavii. He's not going to be able to get it. Chavii's going to let him bleed out, and he's going to turn back to try to make sure that his teammates win their fight. And with that win, that could very well be the round. Down to 10 seconds. The respawn of Addvers is close enough. This might be one more chance, but it's not going to be in time. It's not going to be enough. Team Queso, they win another map of control against Purified. We will be going to a map 5. It's going to be execution. We're going to be able to find out who's going to settle the score here between Queso and Purified right after a very quick commercial break. Don't you dare go anywhere.
everybody, to the Gears Pro League Split 2, Day 3. We're going to a map number 5, and we knew this could be an eventuality. Hey, the hard work was done, at least when it comes to Purified. They won at least the middle portion, right? They won maps 2, they won maps 3, and they therefore guaranteed a map number 5. And things were looking good for a little bit, right? For Purified. Team Queso starting to fall apart a little bit whenever it came to this map number 4 here on Reactor. But at the end of the day, Team Queso still found a way to get that final hill, close it out, and force to map number 5. Again, going back to the sentiment, right? Their control gameplay, Colin. I mean, it's pretty good. Definitely their best game mode, best game mode, at least from what I can see.
I mean, you're going to have to win some other game mode besides control. I don't care how good you are at it. It gets you to a 2-0 series lead every time. And you know how many maps you need to win a series?
6.
Man, I suck at math.
You need to win 3. You need to win 3. You need to win 3.
I can't even count right. Like, I have it held up in my hand this whole time, but I keep staring at it like, am I wrong? Am I wrong?
No, you need to win 3. Yeah, it's best fight. You got to win 3. I'm being dumb. All right, look, I'm just having a good day. So when I have a good day, for some reason, I just like to be dumb. I don't know what it is because I'm so smart,
it's when you're
giga brain
around
all the
me,
time.
you like to be dumb. That's the problem.
What is that?
I said when you're with me, that's when you want to be dumb. That's the problem.
I know. Because we piggyback.
Every
off.
time you make the schedule, I guarantee you the voice of God immediately looks for if you and I are on the same day and then curses one of us. Maybe both of us.
All right, we're heading into Clocktower execution. That's going to be yet another execution obviously being played. The first one was checkout, and Toti did a phenomenal job with not only making the big clutch plays, but also Gary hitting those great snipe shots, which, hey, round number 2 with the sniper, if they can get their hands on it. But this does play a little bit differently than checkout. So talk to me about Clocktower, and how do you think it's going to pan out?
Well, Clocktower plays differently for a big reason. Clocktower has more of an opportunity for somebody to go on a big-time flank across the bottom of the map. So normally you got to leave somebody at the bottom of the stairs just to check that player, whether they go for the frags or they're going for a full flank. You got to be able to get some damage onto him. Meanwhile, up top, you've always got to keep your eye on that long shot. Normally, you'll have 1, maybe 2 flashes thrown at your back pillar player who will have their Lancer already out trying to damage up whoever's going to pick that power weapon. So make sure you keep your eye on that prize. And it looks like already in round 1, Addvers is going to have a free flank.
Hey, free. You say free. It's looking free to me. Gets the shot on the Chavii. Chavii's down with the help of Gary. Cristalize, last alive. And round number 1 already pulling out the big tricks on the flank. 24 seconds. And Addvers, you know, he did have a big impact. At least he stopped Chavii in his tracks because Chavii was one to engage on the teammate just up above. But you can't do that every round, can you? So I'm curious what round number 2 is going to bring. And going back to the sentiment that you brought up as we were heading into checkout map number 2 execution, you did mention that Toti can give multiple different looks from Purified, and that was one of them.
I'm telling you right now, first round, looking across the map, if you got to be able to count to 4. Somebody has to know that he's coming on the flank. That's one of the things about execution.
Oh, no.
I'll see you in a couple rounds.
Oh, no. Come on, Sleeafer. You can't do that. Well, still, though, an opportunity pinned up is going to be Purified going for the sniper. Looks like Sleeafer actually is going to take down, Chavii is going to get the shot onto Kardia. So an opportunity to recover. Plenty of team kills throughout this series. And you know what? Purified's been at fault, so is Team Queso. But a map 5 is not where you need those team kills to take place. We do have a bit of a reset, though. 3v3. I got to say, man, curious what's going to be taking place here.
I hate team kills, man. I hate watching people be reckless with their shots. Good thing they answered back. It's going to be a 3v3. Taking a look at these players on the side, though, of the map. Nobody has any utility, and Addvers is going to take this as an opportunity to go for the fragmentation grenades. Toti's going to be all by himself. He was looking for a quick little chunks, not going to be able to get it. The other 2 players from Purified, they're going to mount up at the bottom of the stairwell. They're going to send Addvers up first. He's going to have those frags. Throwing 1 to the back. Second one at the feet of Problems. Not going to find a connection, but all 3 of those players will get out of harm's way momentarily to set back up. It is a 3v2 at the top side of the map now, and Team Queso should have this round number 2 under lock and key, under lock step, as they do have a man advantage. Overtime hill will be spawning in about 15 seconds from now, up top. Should be a big team fight as well up here. He should have saved those frag grenades. I know that they might have been going for the overload, but I mean, if you have those frags now, you can keep them out of the hill. You can try to delay it, maybe even get a quick kill onto somebody. 1 second left. Here comes the push from both teams. They get one down. Now they're going to push up into the hill. Easy up a kill. Shut down from Team Queso. Good job there in round 2.
But they just about blew it, didn't they, Colin? That first team kill was tough. Was tough to see. But, you know, the silver lining truly was that at that point in time, that Purified was already committed and kind of pinned up and really shoulder to shoulder on that sniper. And they were just getting peppered up and lancered out. And that was really what brought Team Queso back into that round and allowed them to, you know, clean things up and ultimately win it. Purified, you know, when that team kill happens, I really expected them to win it, but they just couldn't get away from that sniper. They couldn't get away from that narrow choke point. Some around Cristalize going to get his hands and out for a scot-free, right? Not even down with the sniper in hand, and add, you know, really kind of more suffering, if you will. There was already one down onto Toti, but he has picked up. Sniper's traded off to Sleeafer, and it is a reset. 4v4. He's got to avoid that sniper, man.
And Sleeper's going to try to find a little angle here to get a body shot onto somebody, try to get a secondary down. Looks like they're going to push straight across. Purified trying to get these kills to clean up. One player traded out from each side. Now we have a 3v3 yet again, but another down comes through. Looking to find a headshot. Sleeper finds one. It's going to be a 3v1. And now TQ looking to get a 2-1 lead, and they come away with it.
Oh, man.
Just like we saw in round 1, where nobody paid attention to Addvers.
Nobody. Nobody
what?
at all.
Not
Yep.
what, not what. No H. W-O-T. What are y'all looking at with the long shot? Nobody even lancering back at him.
Hey, things are looking a bit rough. I mean, this team Queso.
These are the rounds that worry me for both of these teams because it shows a lack of communication, a lack of teamwork. Addvers is going to go back down again for those frag grenades. They've been picked up. Those are on the kill feed. He's going to throw them straight up top. He's got a good angle here to try to pick up one kill, and it looks like they're actually going to push all the way across. Problems. He gets it down here. Can he clean it up? Going for the headshot. Gets one. They trade out a kill. It's going to be 3v3. Now he gets the body shot onto Gary. Chavii goes down. Nobody's there to save him. 3v1. Sleeafer all by his lonesome has to rotate out. This should be a 2-2 round count here momentarily, unless Sleeafer pulls off what could only be described as a mini miracle.
Now, Identive's done it before, but also Identive's had a little bit more coverage. Good body. He fought till the end. He wasn't going out without a fight, but at the end of the day, Purified will take that round to tie things up 2-2. Another chaotic round, Colin. I mean, serious. All 4 of these rounds, aside from round number one was super clean, right? Addvers on that flank, Purified controlled that through and through. But aside from that, the 3 rounds that followed have been really chaotic and shifted momentum several times.
Yeah, really without a doubt. And I think one of the things right there, Gary needed to have, I think it was like one shot onto him. He got body shotted by the long shot. Hitting a couple of pellets would have been perfect for him. Addvers yet again on another flank, almost for free. They're going to call him out this time, but the 2 big body shots from Addvers gets 1 kill. That's going to give Purified the momentum to fly across the top of the map. This should be 3-2 because right now you have a 3v2 on the map, and it looks like Queso, I mean, they just got to get out of Dodge. They've got to reset in the situation. Cristalize, go for those frag grenades, man. You had time for free. What is happening?
I think it's just communication. You know, ultimately he gets there. Ultimately he does get there. So at this point, Team Queso, despite them being at a man disadvantage, they do have a real chance to win this round, to turn the tides in their favor. Obviously, I'm looking at Sleeafer because him with the... Now, one thing I don't agree with is splitting up like they're doing, and the reason why Purified can... What? Sleeafer is really committing. I'm actually shocked that Sleeafer is pushing as hard as he is by himself. It's a wonder that he didn't just die there. He actually had an opportunity to pick up at least 1 player after that body, but I'm stunned that he was so aggressive, Colin.
He has no Nasher.
Oh,
notice he pulled out snub to try to get it down. He had
That's
no Nasher.
tough.
That's why when he pulled up on that player, he never switched weapons. He was going to try to get a quick headshot. And when he didn't, he just went for the body, quick switch over to the snub, try his best to get it down or something along those lines. Now he's going to push up with this long shot in hand yet again. Sleeafer trying his best to just make something happen, but he's going to leave Cristalize with, I believe, 2 frag grenades all by himself in this situation. Actually, Cristalize has already thrown him. He's going to go down. 3-2. Purified played that perfect, but this is one of those situations where Without that Nasher, he puts himself at such a disadvantage. There is nowhere for him to turn to help anybody.
Yeah. That's a round that frustrates me. Again, you know, the rounds, aside from round one, have been very chaotic. First and foremost, Addvers flank for free, as you said. Yeah, he's called out. Chavii turns around just in time. By the time he turns around, he's already been hit with the full spread. He's going to die there. No one's able to help him, right? And then on top of that, like you said, getting the sniper, but giving up your Nasher in return? It's just not looking good. It's just, whether it's team communication or individually, you know, players making mistakes, it's been messy. It really has been messy. Big chaotic moves though. Sleeafer, sniper in hand, trying to connect on any hand head he can. And this time around, he does have his Nasher, but unfortunately, he doesn't have any teammates to help him out, nor can he get away. And that's going to be a quick round going to the way of Purified. 3 rounds in a row for them, 2 rounds away from winning the series.
This is going to get real bad for 2 more rounds. Team Queso has their number. They're giving up a long shot for free, and they're just obliterating. They're just obliterating him. Purified has not dropped a step. They've lost 2 rounds because of really big plays from somebody. Somebody's had to shut down a flank. Somebody's had to get a big kill here or there, maybe even a team revive. Every single round that Purified has won, they're just beating them up. They have the number of them. Cristalize is going to go down here. Frag Grenades is going to come out.
Nice,
going to get a double kill.
Nice nade.
Hey, man, I said 2 more rounds. Looks like we're about to be staring down a barrel of 1 more round.
Yep, I think we are. And Addvers is there onto the flank. He'll get the cleanup on the Chavii problems. He fights. He really does. He gets it down on the Kardia, but it's just simply not going to be enough. Good nade from Addvers from down low. Able to pick up 2 as they were going for the sniper. Bring down to a 4v2. 5-2. That's 4 rounds in a row. 1 round away from victory is Purified. This would be their first victory in Pro League, ladies and gentlemen. They're on the cusp. Now they just got to close it out. I think both teams have kind of been a bit wishy-washy, but Purified, I think, has had the better composure, I guess, really. That's the best way to call it. So Team Queso, they've got, you know, like you said, a good pickup on the sniper. Addvers has been a thorn in their side going on the flanker, getting the nades. This time it's a 4v4 up top.
Yeah, and they feel confident. They feel comfortable. Even if they lose this round, they've got rounds to play with. Sleeper's all by himself. He's going to get 2v1 back there. 3v3 on the map now because of the quick revive. Addvers getting picked up twice now. See what they can do here. As Cristalize is just trying to find another down. Good shot there. Trying to find the headshot on the player going for the revive. Won't be able to get it, but multiple downs coming through. Reset this fight really easily for both sides on this top fight here. It looks like they're actually going to send Toti maybe down low for the frag grenades here. And I think they might have gotten that correct call out. They're going to try to get a kill right here to make it 3v2. Now Kardia is going to be tagged up. He's going to possibly go down. And with that down, Toti might throw 1 frag way up top to try to get a kill, and then, you know, pulls the pin on the other one just to try to make something happen. But 1 round back in the favor of Team Queso, but I do not see this going in their favor anyway, type or form. I mean, this is, again, they're having to make Herculean plays just to stay alive in this.
Just stay alive. Man, stay alive, stay alive. You know, sometimes that's all you got to do, round after round. Team Queso, that's kind of their only option, and they said, "Hey, let's take a little bit more of a pause. Let's talk about some things. Let's figure it out." I'm not sure how long the stalemate is going to go, but regardless, though, for Team Queso, the result is still the same. They need to come back. They need to continue to play their heart out. I think Addvers goes on a flank here. I do, and I think this is an opportunity for Chavii or whoever else to keep him in check and get that first blood. So I'm curious if they'll do that, but I don't see Addvers not going for a flank or going for nades in the spot.
There he goes. He baits the top. Now he goes down low. Good call out by Taylor Reflections Noble here. They've got to have this. They've got to find a way to be able to answer back. There's one down in the middle of the map. Addvers is coming up on the flank. Beautiful job with the snub rifle here. Nobody getting a kill anywhere on the map. And it looks like Purified, they played it to perfection. They played back. They played defensively. And their first win in Pro League comes at the expense of Team Queso. They've got to go back to the drawing board for both escalation and execution. Control seems to be well within their favor, but kudos to Purified. Winning it in 5. I thought they were going to have to do it 2 through 4, but they come away with 2, 3, and 5. Beautiful job. Led the way by Kardia. There it is, the perfect assistant, as well as Toti. Toti had 16 assists, 28 assists between Toti and Kardia. My goodness gracious.
Yes, sir.
God almighty.
Look, Toti is by far, and I think everybody knew this. But he is by far the most influential factor and key factor for this roster. Toti, if they're going to win series, if they're going to make miraculous comebacks and big plays, Toti is going to be that guy to make it happen. Now, this series wasn't clean for either roster, Colin. Even for Team Queso, yes, they take the L, but Purified didn't necessarily dominate. By far didn't dominate this series by any means at all, but they did play Escalation and they did play Execution better. And I stand by the fact that Team Queso, they beat themselves in a series. Go back to training grounds. Go back to that one round where they got overly aggressive, where they could have pumped the brakes, played the long game. It came down to a round 9. If Team Queso played that round differently, I'm confident they win training grounds, and then they go on to win, obviously, Reactor pretty convincingly, 300 to 214. This series would have been Team Queso. Purified, they didn't get lucky. They won this series by far, right? They won Escalation, they won Execution. But Team Queso, point I'm getting at, Colin, they could have won this series. They beat themselves. I'm standing by that.
No, they didn't beat.
They beat themselves.
If they beat themselves on Escalation, they did not. They gave away a map. They come to a map 5, and then they get absolutely destroyed.
Oh, they lost map 5 for sure.
They are not ready for big-time matchups with the way they never checked the flank. And every time they checked the flank, it was way too little, way too late. These are maps and situations, if you're Team Queso, where teams like E United, the Pioneers, Pittsburgh Knights, they're going to tap dance on your gravestone. They are not going to have, like, it was 6-3, and it could have easily been 6-2, 6-1 because they never watched the flank. Look at Checkout. 6-3 as well, and Purified, the rounds they lost were because somebody went Hercules. Maybe you take the Toti round away, where he goes absolutely massive. But this is one of those situations where Team Queso had a chance to win it with maps 3 and 4 if they win that training grounds in round 9, but they don't do it because they're not mature enough to do it. They go to check out Execution to map 2. They never overwhelm the long shot. They keep getting these incendiaries, but never make a good enough throw to get the kill on Gary at the long shot, and they never clean up the kills. Map 5, they don't check the flank. They're not communicating well enough. These are the mistakes that will kill you against a team like Purified, who doesn't have a win, and will get you slaughtered against teams like the Pioneers and E United and all the big dogs at the top and the Knights. These are the things they've got to clean up. They've got to talk this over. They got too much damn talent on that squad not to check a flank on Clocktower. Hello?
and no one went down low. Not one time did Team Queso send Chavii, which it probably would have been Chavii, down low to fight for nades, to keep Addvers in check. Not once. Not once did they even attempt to change up their strategy. They just continued to butt their head into the wall, and that was all they did. They just went for the sniper non-stop. And because of that, they were very one-dimensional. And again, that's what I think is going to hurt Team Queso. Mechanically, they are one of the best teams out there for slaying out. But smarts-wise, playbook-wise, they're really one-dimensional. They don't have a lot of play calls. I don't know if they have a dominant IGL who's truly changing the pacing and calling out the plays that need to be made on the battlefield. And therefore, Team Queso are going to struggle in Pro League because better teams, Purified including, are going to continue to outsmart them and beat them, whether it's rotations or team fights in general, Colin.
And those are the things that will never allow you to win matchups, especially against better teams.
Let alone championships. My goodness.
Yeah,
yeah.
I would love to see them clean those things up. Not just from a standpoint of, oh, damn, I missed my pick between these two teams. Oh, damn, I watched a team be silly for 5 maps.
Sure.
Like, there were times where they were silly. But you know what really made them look silly, Taylor? You know what really made them look a little cross-eyed?
I know where you're getting at. All right. Normally we gotta normally we gotta wait all night for this play. All right. Normally we gotta wait all night for the eSwap X Pro Controller play of the day, but we're gonna go ahead and send it because Toti, he already got it, and I don't think anybody's gonna outdo this play.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, what you're looking at right here, Toti gets the revive on Kardia, kind of to get some help, maybe even a little body shield there. But what he does with that first incendiary, he catches somebody running right into him, He takes the cover because he knows he's going to regenerate his health quicker, and he's going to be able to just take pot shots over the top. He's going to go for this down off this back roll there. He knows that he's going for that revive. He rolls up. He knows that player getting the revive will be able to shoot first, and that is where he gets his second kill. And then, of course, the wiggle waggle, the double body shot gets him the third and final kill of this. But Toti plays it perfectly. From the insta-gib incendiary to the pot shots while he regens to the wiggle waggle double bounce to that gib. Picture perfect out of Toti, really leading his team and swanging that weight around.
That play solidified it for me. eSwap X Pro Controller play of the day. Made it happen. Little wiggle waggle, as you said, man. That right there was incredible and truthfully showed what Toti can still do, despite him not being unknowable, right? This Purified Roster, I think, are going places. Definitely need to clean up their control game. Control is by far their weakest game mode. But you know what? They still won the series, and they got their first W. So therefore, they separate themselves from the bottom 3 teams at this point in time. Great series to start off the day. Went to a Map 5, and it gave us a little bit of everything, but the night is still young. We've got more series to go through, and the next one coming up is going to be Pittsburgh Knights playing against Fury 1. This is a series you don't want to miss. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, these two great teams will be going at it.